Dr. Richard Stone grabbed the IV stand and ripped it away from Emma's arm. The little girl screamed. Blood trickled down her pale skin. "You want to die?" he shouted at the 4-year-old. "Then die. I'm done wasting my time on a child who doesn't want to live." Michael Harrison lunged across the room and slammed the doctor against the wall. "Touch my daughter again and I'll kill you." Dr. Stone laughed in his face. "Kill me. You can't even save her. She told me this morning she wants to go to heaven. Your daughter is starving herself to death and you're too busy counting your billions to notice. 12 specialists, 2 weeks, $500,000, and she's still choosing to die. Face it, Harrison, you've already lost her." Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and follow this story to the end. Comment below which city you're watching from so I can see how far this story has traveled. Michael's fist connected with Dr. Stone's jaw. The doctor crumpled to the floor. Blood sprayed across the pristine white carpet. "Security?" Mrs. Wells screamed from the doorway. 2 guards rushed in and grabbed Michael's arms. He was still trying to get to the doctor. His eyes were wild. His chest heaved. "Get him out," Michael snarled. "Get him out of my house." Dr. Stone wiped blood from his lip and smiled. That smile made Michael's skin crawl. "You'll regret this, Harrison. When she's dead, remember who tried to save her, and remember who failed." The guards dragged him toward the elevator. Dr. Stone called out one last time. "By the way, your mother called me yesterday. Victoria thinks Emma should be in a facility, a real one, with people who know what they're doing. She's filing for emergency guardianship tomorrow morning." The elevator doors closed. Michael stood frozen. His mother? Of course. Victoria Harrison had never approved of Caroline, never accepted Emma as a true Harrison. And now she was making her move. "Sir?" Mrs. Wells's voice trembled. "Emma." He turned. His daughter was curled in the corner of her bed, arms wrapped around her knees, rocking back and forth. The IV line dangled uselessly. Blood stained her white nightgown. Michael's legs gave out. He fell to his knees beside her bed. "Baby, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He's gone now. He'll never hurt you again." Emma didn't respond. Didn't look at just kept rocking, staring at nothing. Emma, please." Nothing. Mrs. Wells knelt beside him. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Sir, we need to bandage her arm." Michael nodded numbly. He watched as Mrs. Wells gently cleaned the wound. Emma didn't flinch, didn't react at all, like she wasn't even there anymore. "How did it get this bad?" Michael whispered. "How did I let it get this bad?" Mrs. Wells didn't answer. She didn't have to. They both knew. 6 months ago, Caroline Harrison died on the Brooklyn Bridge. A drunk driver crossed the center line. Her car went through the guardrail. They found her body in the East River 3 days later. Emma was at preschool when it happened. She waited by the window all afternoon for Mommy to pick her up. Mommy never came. That night, Michael had to tell his daughter that her mother was gone. He practiced the words 100 times. None of them were right. "Mommy went to heaven, sweetheart. She's with the angels now." Emma stared at him with those big blue eyes. "When is she coming back?" "She's not coming back, baby. She's staying in heaven. Forever. Forever." Emma didn't cry, didn't scream. She just nodded slowly and said, "Okay, Daddy." That was the last normal conversation they ever had. Within a week, she stopped talking. Within a month, she stopped playing. Within 3 months, she stopped smiling. And 2 weeks ago, she stopped eating. Michael hired everyone. Pediatric specialists from Johns Hopkins, child psychologists from Harvard, feeding therapists who'd worked with kids all over the world. He flew in experts from London, Tokyo, Zurich. None of them could reach her. "Mr. Harrison," Mrs. Wells finished bandaging Emma's arm. "There's something I need to tell you." "What?" Dr. Stone wasn't entirely wrong. Michael's head snapped up. "Excuse me. Not about the facility, but about Emma, about why she stopped eating." Mrs. Wells took a shaky breath. "She told me something last week. I didn't want to believe it, so I didn't say anything. But after what the doctor said..." "What did she tell you?" Mrs. Wells's eyes filled with tears. "She said she wants to go to heaven to find her mommy. She said if she stops eating, she'll get small enough to fly." Michael's heart stopped. She thinks she can get to heaven if she starves herself. She's not depressed, sir. She's not sick. She's trying to die on purpose." The room spun. Michael grabbed the bedpost to steady himself. His 4-year-old daughter was trying to kill herself to find her dead mother. "Why didn't you tell me?" His voice cracked. Because I hoped I was wrong. Because I hoped the doctors would figure it out. Because... Mrs. Wells broke down. Because I didn't know how to say it. Michael looked at Emma, still rocking, still staring at nothing. She was so thin now. Her collarbone jutted out. Her cheeks were hollow. She looked like a ghost. "Get out," he whispered. "Sir, get out. Everyone, get out." Mrs. Wells hesitated, then nodded and left. The door clicked shut behind her. Michael climbed onto the bed and pulled his daughter into his arm. She was so light, like holding air. "Emma, listen to me. Mommy doesn't want you to come to heaven. Not yet. She wants you to stay here with Daddy." Emma's voice was barely audible. "How do you know?" "Because she loved you more than anything. She would never want you to hurt yourself." "Then why did she leave?" Michael's throat closed. "She didn't want to leave, baby. It was an accident." "Grandma said Mommy wanted to leave. Grandma said Mommy was going to leave anyway." Michael went cold. "What did Grandma say?" Emma finally looked at him. Her eyes were empty, hollow. "Grandma said Mommy was going to take me away. She said Mommy didn't love us anymore. She said that's why God took her, because she was bad." Michael's vision went red. His mother? Victoria Harrison, the woman who had never accepted Caroline, the woman who called her that Brooklyn girl, the woman who had tried to convince Michael to sign a prenup with an infidelity clause. She had been poisoning Emma's mind. "When did Grandma tell you this, Gid?" "At the funeral, when you were talking to the other people. She said I should forget about Mommy because Mommy forgot about us." Michael wanted to scream. He wanted to put his fist through the wall, but his daughter was in his arms, and she was all that mattered. "Listen to me, Emma. Grandma was wrong. Mommy loved us. She loved us so much. She was coming home to us the night she died. The last thing she said to me was kiss Emma for me." Does that sound like someone who wanted to leave? Emma was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "I don't know what to believe anymore, Daddy." Neither did he. Michael held her until she fell asleep. Then he laid her gently on the bed, covered her with a blanket, and walked out of the room. Mrs. Wells was waiting in the hallway. "Call my lawyer," Michael said. "Tell him my mother is never to set foot in this house again, and tell him to prepare a countersuit. If she files for guardianship, I'll bury her." "Yes, sir?" "And find me a new doctor, not a specialist, someone who actually gives a damn about children." "Sir, after what happened today, no reputable doctor will..." "Then find someone disreputable. Find someone hungry. Find someone who needs this job badly enough to actually try." Mrs. Wells nodded and hurried away. Michael walked to his study and poured himself a whiskey. His hands were shaking so badly he spilled half of it. His mother had told his grieving daughter that her dead mother didn't love her. He downed the whiskey in one gulp and poured another. His phone buzzed, a text from his CFO. "Board meeting tomorrow. Emergency session. They're talking about removing you." Michael laughed bitterly. Of course they were. He hadn't been to the office in 2 weeks. His company was worth $12 billion, and it was crumbling because he couldn't leave his daughter's side. Let it crumble, he thought. Let it all crumble. Another text. His lawyer this time. "Victoria filed the guardianship papers an hour ago. Hearing is in 72 hours. She's claiming you're mentally unfit. She has statements from 3 of Emma's doctors." Michael threw his phone against the wall. It shattered. Everything was falling apart. His daughter was dying. His mother was trying to take her away. His company was being stolen from under him, and he couldn't save any of it. He slumped into his chair and buried his face in his hands. Somewhere in the house, a phone was ringing. Mrs. Wells's voice muffled through the walls. Then footsteps, hurried, coming closer. "Sir?" Mrs. Wells appeared in the doorway. "The agency called. They have someone for tomorrow, a housekeeper." "I don't care about housekeepers." "Sir, please listen. This one is different. She grew up in foster care, lost her mother when she was young. She specifically asked for this position when she heard about Emma." Michael looked up. "She asked for it." "The agency said they'd never seen anything like it. They told her about Emma's condition, thinking it would scare her off. Instead, she said she understood. She said she'd been Emma once." Something flickered in Michael's chest. Not hope. He'd given up on hope. But something. "What's her name?" "Maya Jenkins. She can start tomorrow morning." Michael stared at the shattered phone on the floor, at the whiskey glass in his hand, at the ruins of everything he'd built. "Send her," he said. The next morning, Maya Jenkins woke at 4 a.m. in her tiny Brooklyn apartment. She lay in bed for a moment, staring at the water stain on the ceiling that looked like a woman's face. She'd dreamed about her mother again, the same dream she'd had since she was 7 years old. Her mother in a hospital bed, skin-yellow eyes, sunken, reaching out with a skeletal hand. "Don't forget me, baby. Promise you won't forget me." Maya never forgot. She got up, showered in cold water because the building's heater was broken again, and put on the nicest clothes she owned. Black pants, white blouse, her mother's silver cross around her neck. The subway was nearly empty at this hour, a few night shift workers heading home, a homeless man sleeping across 3 seats. Maya sat by the window and watched the tunnel lights flash by. She thought about the Harrison family, about the little girl who had stopped eating, about the father who couldn't reach her. The agency had warned her. This family is difficult, the father is cold, the child is unresponsive, the last 3 housekeepers quit within a week. Are you sure you want this? Maya was sure, because 20 years ago, she had been that little girl. She had been the one who stopped eating after her mother died. She had been the one who wanted to disappear, and someone had saved her. Now maybe she could save someone else. The train emerged from the tunnel. Manhattan stretched before her gray and cold in the February dawn. Maya clutched her mother's cross and whispered a prayer. "Lord, I don't know what I'm walking into, but if you brought me here, please don't let me waste it." The Harrison penthouse was nothing like she'd expected. The service entrance led through a series of plain corridors to a kitchen that could have been in a restaurant. Everything was stainless steel and white marble. Clinical, cold. Mrs. Wells was waiting for her. The older woman looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. Her eyes were swollen. Her hands trembled as she poured coffee. "Thank you for coming so early," Mrs. Wells said. "Things have been difficult." "How is she?" Mrs. Wells's face crumpled. "She's fading, every day a little more. The doctors say her organs will start shutting down soon if she doesn't eat." Maya's chest tightened. "Can I see her?" "Mr. Harrison has protocols, only approved staff." "Can I see her?" Maya repeated. Mrs. Wells studied her face. There was something in this young woman's eyes, something deep and knowing. "You've lost someone," Mrs. Wells said. "My mother, when I was 7. How did you survive?" Maya touched the cross at her neck. "Someone sat with me until I remembered I wanted to live." Mrs. Wells was quiet for a long moment. Then she set down her coffee cup. "Follow me." They climbed the stairs in silence. Family photographs lined the walls. A beautiful woman with auburn hair appeared in most of them, laughing, dancing, holding a baby girl. Maya stopped at one photograph. Mother and daughter foreheads pressed together, sharing a secret smile. "She was beautiful," Maya whispered. "She was everything." Mrs. Wells's voice broke. "When she died, the light went out of this house." They reached a pale blue door decorated with yellow stars. Mrs. Wells knocked softly. "Emma, someone's here to see you." Silence. She pushed the door open. Maya's breath caught. The little girl on the floor was barely there anymore. Blonde hair hanging limp, skin stretched over bones, eyes staring at nothing. She looked like Maya's mother in those final days. "Dear God," Maya whispered. Mrs. Wells wiped her eyes. "This is what I was telling you, she's just gone." But Maya saw something the others missed. In those hollow eyes, a flicker. Not emptiness. Waiting. "Mrs. Wells, can you give us a moment?" "I don't think that's appropriate. Mr. Harrison." "Please." Something in Maya's voice made Mrs. Wells stop arguing. She nodded and stepped out. Maya didn't approach Emma, didn't try to touch her or comfort her. Instead, she sat down on the floor about 6 feet away, her back against the wall. And she waited. Minutes passed. The morning light shifted through the window. Finally, Maya spoke. Her voice was barely above a whisper. "You know what, Emma, my grandmother used to say that when your heart hurts too much, food tastes wrong. Like it doesn't belong inside you anymore. Like eating is a betrayal." Emma's finger twitched, just barely. "I felt that way after my mama died. I was 7, same age as my little sister when she got sick. Cancer, the kind they can't fix." Maya's voice stayed steady even as tears slipped down her cheeks. "After Mama died, I stopped eating too. I thought maybe if I got small enough and quiet enough, I could disappear. I could go to heaven and find her." Emma's head turned. Just a fraction. "I almost did it too. Almost disappeared. I got so thin my grandma could see my bones through my skin. The doctors said I was going to die." Maya paused. "Do you know what saved me?" Emma's voice came out cracked and broken. The first words she'd spoken to anyone but Mrs. Wells in a week. "What?" Maya's heart soared, but she kept her voice calm. "My grandma stopped trying to make me eat. She stopped lecturing me about nutrition. She stopped forcing food into my mouth. What did she do? She just sat with me, every single day. She'd make herself a sandwich, sit down next to me, and eat it. Sometimes she'd talk about Mama. Sometimes she'd just be quiet. She never pushed, never forced, just stayed. Emma was looking at her now, really looking. One day, I don't even know when it happened, I reached over and took a bite of her sandwich. Not because I was hungry, but because I was tired of being alone, and Grandma's sandwich tasted like being less alone. Emma's lip trembled. I miss my mommy. Maya's throat closed. I know you do, baby. It hurts so bad. I know. Everyone keeps trying to fix me. The doctors and the therapists and Daddy, they keep saying, eat, 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 like food will make me miss her less. It won't. Emma's eyes widened. It won't. No, you're going to miss her forever. That's just the truth. But the missing, it changes. It gets softer. Like it's still there, but it doesn't cut as deep. How long does it take? Maya considered lying, considered saying something comforting and false. But children always knew when adults were lying. A long time. Sometimes I still miss my mama, and it's been 20 years. Emma was quiet. Then she said something that shattered Maya's heart. Grandma said Mommy didn't love me. Maya went cold. What? She said Mommy was going to leave us. She said Mommy was bad, and that's why God took her. Oh, sweetheart. Maya moved closer slowly, carefully. That's not true. That's not true at all. How do you know you didn't know my mommy? No, but I know mamas. And I know that any mama who took pictures like the ones in this house, who decorated this room with stars, who held you the way I've seen in those photographs, that mama loved you more than anything in this whole world. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Sometimes people say mean things because they're hurting, or because they're jealous, or because they're broken in ways we can't see. But Grandma is Daddy's mommy. That doesn't make her right. Emma stared at her for a long moment. Then she said, You're not like the other people Daddy brings here. No. The other people talk at me. You talk to me. Maya smiled through her tears. I guess I do. Miss Maya? Yes, baby? My tummy hurts. Maya's heart clenched. Of course it did. 2 weeks without food. I bet it does. The doctor said I need to eat or my tummy will hurt forever. What do you want to do? Emma looked down at her hands. So thin, so fragile. I want to see Mommy again. Maya took a deep breath. This was the moment, the edge of the cliff. Can I tell you something my grandma told me, something I didn't believe until I was much older? Emma nodded. She said that when we die, we don't go straight to heaven. First, we go to a place where we have to wait. And the only way we get to move on is if the people we love are okay. If they're living, if they're happy. Emma's brow furrowed. Really? That's what she said. She said my mama was in that waiting place watching me. And every time I refused to eat, every time I cried myself to sleep, every time I wanted to die, my mama cried too. Because she couldn't move on until I was okay. Emma's eyes went wide. She said the best thing I could do for my mama wasn't to die and try to find her. The best thing I could do was live, really live, so she could see me happy and finally rest. So, if I try to die, Mommy has to watch. Maya nodded slowly. That's what my grandma believed. Emma was silent for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was different, stronger. I don't want Mommy to be sad. I don't think she wants you to be sad either. But I am sad. I'm so sad all the time. I know, and that's okay. Being sad isn't the same as giving up. You can be sad and still live. You can miss her and still eat. You can cry every single day and still grow up and do all the things she would have wanted you to do. Emma looked at her hands again. What if I can't? Then I'll sit with you until you can. You promise? I promise. Emma was quiet. Then she said the words Maya had been praying for. Miss Maya, I think I want to try. Downstairs, Michael sat in his study with his head in his hands. His lawyer had just called. The guardianship hearing was in 72 hours. His mother had assembled a team of experts to testify that he was unfit. She has statements from 3 doctors, his lawyer said, including Dr. Stone. He's saying you assaulted him. He ripped an IV out of my daughter's arm. That's not what he's telling the judge. Michael wanted to scream. His mother had planned this, all of it. The doctors, the specialists, the constant parade of people who couldn't help Emma but could document every failure. What do I do? You need to show the judge that Emma is improving, that she's eating, that she's responding to treatment. Without that, Victoria has a strong case. She's not eating. She's not responding to anything. Then I suggest you figure something out in the next 72 hours, because if you don't, you're going to lose your daughter. The call ended. Michael stared at his phone. The new one Mrs. Wells had brought him after he'd shattered the old one. 72 hours. His phone buzzed. A text from his assistant. Board meeting in 1 hour. They're voting on your removal. The CFO says it's not looking good. Michael laughed bitterly. Let them vote. Let them take his company. None of it mattered if he lost Emma. Footsteps in the hallway. Hurried. Almost running. Mrs. Wells burst into his study, her face streaked with tears. Michael's heart stopped. Emma! But Mrs. Wells was smiling, crying and smiling. Sir, you need to come upstairs, right now. Michael ran. He took the stairs 3 at a time. His heart pounded against his ribs. He reached Emma's door and froze. His daughter was sitting on the floor across from a young black woman he'd never seen before. They were talking. Actually talking. Emma was making eye contact. Emma was responding. And in Emma's hand was a piece of bread. Michael couldn't breathe. The woman noticed him first. She didn't startle or look guilty, just gave him a small nod and turned back to Emma. Your daddy's here, she said softly. Emma looked up. For the first time in weeks, she actually saw him. Daddy, Miss Maya says Mommy is watching me from the waiting place. She says if I eat, Mommy won't be sad anymore. Michael's eyes filled with tears. Miss Maya says food doesn't make you miss someone less, but it helps you live so they can rest. His throat closed completely. Emma looked at the bread in her hand, then at her father, then at Maya. I'm scared, she whispered. Maya's voice was gentle. I know, baby. It's okay to be scared. What if I can't do it? Then we'll try again tomorrow, and the next day, and the day after that, as many times as it takes. Emma nodded slowly. She brought the bread to her mouth. Michael held his breath. She bit down, chewed, swallowed, and then she started to cry. Not the silent tears of the past 6 months. Real crying. Deep broken sobs that shook her whole body. Maya gathered her into her arms and held her tight. That's it, baby. Let it out. Let it all out. Emma cried and cried. 6 months of grief pouring out of her in waves. Michael crossed the room and dropped to his knees beside them. He wrapped his arms around his daughter, and for the first time since Caroline died, he cried too. Not the restrained tears of a man trying to be strong. Real tears. The tears of a father who had almost lost everything. I'm sorry, he sobbed. I'm so sorry, baby. I should have been here. I should have listened. Emma reached for him with one hand while still clutching Maya with the other. Don't leave me, Daddy. Never, never again. Promise. I promise. They stayed like that for a long time. Father and daughter and a stranger who had become something more. Finally, Emma pulled back. Her face was swollen. Her eyes were red. But there was something in them that hadn't been there before. Life. Daddy? Yes, sweetheart. I'm hungry. Michael laughed through his tears. What do you want to eat? Emma looked at Maya. Miss Maya, what did your grandma make you? Maya smiled. Grilled cheese, with American cheese, the kind in the plastic wrapper. Can we have that? Michael nodded. We can have anything you want. They went downstairs together. Michael carried Emma, who wrapped her thin arms around his neck. Maya walked beside them. In the kitchen, Mrs. Wells was already crying. She had heard everything through the baby monitor she kept in her pocket. I'll make it, she said, reaching for a pan. No. Maya stepped forward. Let me. She found the bread, the butter, the cheese. Simple ingredients, nothing fancy. Emma sat on the counter, her legs dangling. She hadn't sat on the counter since Caroline died. Caroline used to let her sit there while she cooked. Mommy cut the crust off, Emma said. Then I'll cut the crust off. And she made triangles, not squares. Triangles it is. The butter sizzled in the pan. The smell filled the kitchen. Warm. Comforting. Like home. Maya placed the finished sandwich on a plate and set it in front of Emma. Emma stared at it for a long moment. What if it doesn't taste right? It won't taste the same. Nothing ever tastes the same, but it might taste like a new memory. Emma picked up a triangle. Her hands were shaking. She took a bite, chewed slowly, swallowed. It's different, she said quietly. Michael's heart sank. But Emma took another bite. It's still good. She ate the entire sandwich. Then she looked at her father with exhausted eyes. Daddy, I'm tired. Let's get you to bed, sweetheart. He lifted her from the counter. She was already half asleep by the time they reached the stairs. At her bedroom door, Emma looked back over Michael's shoulder. Miss Maya? Yes, baby. Will you come back tomorrow? Maya smiled. Wild horses couldn't keep me away. For the first time in 6 months, Emma smiled back. It was small. It was fragile. But it was there. Michael carried her to bed and tucked her in. He sat beside her, holding her hand until her breathing evened out. Then he went downstairs to find Maya. She was in the kitchen cleaning up. Mrs. Wells had gone to bed emotionally exhausted. I don't know how to thank you, Michael said. Maya didn't turn around. You don't have to. You did something today that 12 specialists couldn't do in 2 weeks. I didn't do anything. I just understood. Michael moved closer. How? Maya finally turned to face him. Her eyes were deep, ancient. They held pain that most people couldn't imagine. Because I was her, a long time ago, and someone sat with me until I remembered I wanted to live. Michael stared at her. This stranger from Brooklyn who had walked into his house and changed everything. Who are you, Maya Jenkins? She smiled sadly. Just someone who knows what it's like to lose everything, and find a reason to keep going anyway. Michael's phone buzzed. He ignored it. It buzzed again, and again. You should get that, Maya said. He checked the screen. 15 missed calls. His lawyer, his CFO, his assistant, and a text from his mother. I heard about your little breakthrough. It won't matter. That child needs professional care, not some maid from Brooklyn. See you in court. Michael's jaw tightened. Maya saw his expression change. Bad news. My mother, she's trying to take Emma away from me. Can she do that? She's going to try. She has statements from doctors saying I'm unfit. She's filing for emergency guardianship. Maya was quiet for a moment. Then she said, when I was in foster care, I saw a lot of kids get taken from parents who loved them. And I saw a lot of kids stay with parents who didn't. What's your point? The system doesn't always get it right. But love has a way of showing through, even when everything else goes wrong. Michael looked at her. Really looked at her for the first time. You're not just a housekeeper, are you? Maya smiled. I'm whatever this family needs me to be. She gathered her things and headed for the door. Same time tomorrow. Earlier, I want to make pancakes. Emma loves pancakes. I know, Mrs. Wells told me. She paused at the door. Mr. Harrison? Michael, please. Michael. She tested the name. Your daughter doesn't need doctors or specialists or fancy treatments. She needs her father. She needs you to show up. Every day. Not just when it's convenient. Not just when you feel strong. Every single day. I will. Promise. Michael thought about Caroline. About the last words she ever said to him. Kiss Emma for me. I promise. Maya nodded and walked out into the cold February night. Michael stood in the empty kitchen for a long time. The smell of grilled cheese still hung in the air. His phone buzzed again. His lawyer. Michael, we need to talk. The hearing is in 72 hours and I don't have anything to work with. Michael smiled for the first time in weeks. Actually, I think I do. Upstairs, Emma slept peacefully. In her dreams, her mother was smiling. Not sad, not trapped in a waiting place. Happy. And somewhere in Brooklyn on a rattling subway car, Maya Jenkins closed her eyes and whispered a prayer of thanks. The first battle was won, but the war was just beginning. The next morning came too fast. Michael hadn't slept. He'd spent the night in Emma's room watching her breathe, terrified that if he closed his eyes, she'd slip away again. At 5:47 a.m., Emma stirred. Her eyes fluttered open and found her father immediately. Daddy? I'm here, sweetheart. You stayed. I told you I would. Emma was quiet for a moment. Then she said the words that made Michael's heart soar. Is Miss Maya coming today? She should be here soon. Good. Emma closed her eyes again. I like her. She doesn't lie to me. Michael flinched. He knew what she meant. All those specialists with their careful words and clinical detachment. All those doctors who spoke to her like she was a problem to be solved. Maya spoke to her like she was a person. At 6:15 a.m., Maya arrived. Mrs. Wells let her in through the service entrance, but this time she didn't hand her an apron. She hugged her instead. "Thank you," Mrs. Wells whispered. "Thank you for bringing her back." "She's not back yet. We've got a long way to go." But she ate, she talked, she smiled. That's a start, not an ending. Maya went to the kitchen and started pulling out ingredients. Flour, eggs, milk, butter. Michael appeared in the doorway at 6:32 a.m. He looked like a man who had aged 10 years overnight. "Pancakes. She loves pancakes, Mrs. Wells told me. Caroline used to make them every Saturday." Maya's hands paused for just a second, then she kept mixing. "What else did Caroline do on Saturdays?" Michael leaned against the counter. His voice was distant, lost in memory. "She'd wake up early before Emma, make the batter from scratch. She always said the box stuff was garbage." He almost smiled. "Then she'd let Emma help pour them into the pan. Emma always made a mess, batter everywhere. Caroline never minded." "What shapes did she make, Mosip? My mama used to make animal shapes. Bears, rabbits. Once she tried to make a giraffe, but it looked like a blob with sticks." Michael's throat tightened. "Caroline made hearts. Always hearts. She said every pancake was a love letter." Maya nodded slowly. "Hearts it is, then." At 7:03 a.m., footsteps on the stairs. Small, hesitant. Emma appeared in the kitchen doorway. She was wearing her pajamas, her hair tangled from sleep, but her eyes were different, alert, present. "Miss Maya." "Good morning, baby." "You came back." "I promised I would." Emma walked slowly into the kitchen. She stopped beside her father, but didn't reach for him. Instead, she watched Maya pour batter into the pan. "What are you making, pancakes?" "Mommy made pancakes." "I know, your daddy told me. He said she made them in heart shapes." Emma's eyes widened. "You're making hearts." "I'm going to try, but I have to warn you, I'm not as good as your mama was. Mine might look more like lumpy circles." Emma almost smiled. Almost. "That's okay. Lumpy circles are good too." At 7:21 a.m., they sat at the kitchen table. Not the formal dining room. The kitchen table. The one Caroline had picked out because she said it looked like a place where real families eat. Emma stared at the pancake on her plate. Heart-shaped. A little uneven, but recognizable. "I can't," she whispered. Michael's heart sank, but Maya didn't react. Didn't push. She just picked up her fork and started eating her own pancake. "That's okay. You don't have to eat it. You can just keep me company." Emma watched her chew, watched her swallow. "Does it taste good?" "It tastes like a Saturday morning, like being safe." Emma's hand trembled. She picked up her fork. One bite, then another, then another. She ate the whole thing. Michael had to leave the room so she wouldn't see him cry. At 8:15 a.m., everything changed. The doorbell rang. Mrs. Wells went to answer it. A moment later, she came back to the kitchen, her face white as paper. "Sir, it's your mother." Michael's whole body went rigid. "Tell her I'm not available." "She's already inside, sir. She pushed past me." Footsteps in the hallway, sharp, deliberate, the click of expensive heels on marble floors. Victoria Harrison appeared in the kitchen doorway. She was 63 years old but looked 50. Blonde hair perfectly styled. Designer suit that cost more than most people's cars. Eyes like blue ice. "Michael, darling," her voice dripped with false sweetness. "I came to see my granddaughter." Emma shrank back in her chair. Michael stood up slowly. "You're not welcome here, Mother." "Don't be dramatic. I have every right to see Emma." "You told her that Caroline didn't love her. You told a grieving child that her dead mother wanted to abandon her." Victoria's smile didn't waver. "I told her the truth, something you seem incapable of doing." "Get out." "Not until I see my granddaughter." Victoria's eyes moved to Emma. "Hello, darling. Grandma missed you." Emma pressed herself against the back of her chair. Her voice was tiny. "I don't want to see you." Victoria's eyes narrowed. "Now, Emma, that's not polite. We need to have a talk about your behavior. Refusing to eat. Causing all this drama. Your grandfather would be ashamed." "Don't." Michael stepped between his mother and his daughter. "Don't you dare." "Or what? You'll assault me like you assaulted Dr. Stone." He ripped an IV out of her arm. He was trying to help, unlike that woman. Victoria's gaze shifted to Maya, who had been standing quietly by the stove. "Who is this none of your business?" "She's in my granddaughter's home. It is my business." Victoria walked toward Maya. "Let me guess. The new help, From Brooklyn, I assume you have that look?" Maya met her gaze steadily. "Yes, ma'am. Brooklyn born and raised." "How charming. And what exactly are your qualifications for caring for my granddaughter?" "I know what it's like to lose a mother." Victoria laughed. It was not a kind sound. "Oh, wonderful. We've hired a charity case. Michael, this is beneath even you." "Mother, get out." But Victoria wasn't finished. She turned back to Maya, studying her like she was examining something unpleasant on the bottom of her shoe. "You should know that I'm filing for emergency guardianship. In 48 hours, this will be my household, and the first thing I'll do is get rid of you and everyone else my son has hired." Maya's voice stayed calm. "With respect, ma'am, that's not up to you." "Everything is up to me. I'm Victoria Harrison. This family exists because of my husband's money. My son seems to have forgotten that." "Your husband is dead, ma'am, and money doesn't raise children." The room went silent. Victoria's face flushed red. No one spoke to her that way. No one. "How dare you?" "I dare because I've seen what money without love does to children. I grew up in the foster system with kids whose parents had everything except time for them. Emma doesn't need your money. She needs people who show up." Victoria took a step closer to Maya. Her voice dropped to a whisper. "You think you're special? You think you're going to save this family? Let me tell you something, girl. Caroline tried to save this family, and look where it got her." Maya didn't blink. "What do you mean?" Victoria smiled. Cold, cruel. "You don't know. Oh, this is precious. Michael didn't tell you." She turned to her son. "Should I, darling, or would you like to do the honors?" Michael's jaw was clenched so tight Maya could see the muscles straining. "Get out, mother, now." "Fine, I'll go, but I'll leave you with this." Victoria's voice rang through the kitchen. "Caroline was leaving you Michael. She was having an affair. She was going to take Emma and disappear. The night she died, she wasn't coming home from her mother's house. She was coming home to pack her bags." Emma screamed. Everyone turned. The little girl was standing on her chair, her hands over her ears, her face twisted in anguish. "Stop it! Stop it! Stop saying bad things about Mommy!" Tickety! Victoria's expression flickered. Just for a second. Something that might have been guilt. "Emma, darling, I'm just trying to—" "You're lying. You're always lying. Mommy loved us. Mommy loved me." Emma jumped off the chair and ran, not to her father, not to Maya. She ran to the corner of the kitchen and curled into a ball, rocking back and forth just like she had been doing for weeks. Maya moved without thinking. She crossed the kitchen and knelt beside Emma, not touching her, just being close. "Emma, Emma baby, look at me." Emma kept rocking. "Emma, I need you to breathe. Can you do that? Just breathe with me." Slowly, Emma's eyes focused. She looked at Maya. "She's lying right about Mommy." Maya's heart broke. She didn't know the answer. She didn't know anything about Caroline except what she'd heard. But she knew what Emma needed to hear. "I think your grandma is hurting baby. Sometimes when people hurt, they say things that aren't true. Because making other people hurt makes them feel less alone. But what if it's true? What if Mommy was going to leave? Even if it were true, and I don't think it is, it wouldn't mean she didn't love you. Sometimes grown-ups make complicated choices, but a mama's love for her baby, that's not complicated. That's the simplest thing in the world." Emma stared at her, searching. "Promise. I promise." Michael finally moved. He grabbed his mother by the arm and physically dragged her toward the door. "You've done enough damage. Get out." "Michael, I'm trying to protect you. That woman was going to ruin your life. She was my wife. She was Emma's mother. She was a gold digger from Brooklyn who never deserved you." Michael stopped, turned. His face was inches from his mother's. "No, you're the one who never deserved us. You're the one who couldn't stand that I loved someone you didn't choose. You're the one who poisoned Emma's mind because you couldn't control Caroline. Everything I've done has been for this family." "This family, you don't know the first thing about family. You know about appearances, about status, about control, but family," Michael's voice cracked. "Family means showing up when things are hard. Family means loving people even when they disappoint you. Family means putting someone else's needs above your own pride. Don't lecture me about family. I built everything you have. No, Dad built it, and he spent his whole life apologizing for marrying you." Victoria's face went white, then red. Then something cold and dangerous settled into her eyes. "You'll regret saying that. In 48 hours, I'll have custody of Emma, and you'll never see her again." She walked out. The door slammed behind her. The house was silent. Michael stood in the hallway shaking. He had never spoken to his mother that way. never stood up to her. It felt like freedom. It felt like fear. At 9:47 a.m., Michael found Maya in Emma's room. Emma had fallen asleep exhausted from crying. Maya sat beside her holding her hand. "Is it true?" Maya asked without looking up. "What your mother said about Caroline?" Michael sat down heavily in the chair by the window. "I don't know." "You don't know if your wife was having an affair?" "A month before she died, I found emails on her laptop. She'd been talking to a lawyer, not a divorce lawyer, a family lawyer, someone who specializes in custody cases." Maya's breath caught. "She never told me. I confronted her about it and she said it was nothing. Said a friend had recommended him for some estate planning questions. I believed her because I wanted to believe her." "And the affair?" "I don't know. She'd been distant for months, working late, going out with friends I never met. I told myself it was just the stress of motherhood, of being married to someone who worked too much." "Did you ask her?" "Once. She cried. Said she couldn't believe I'd accuse her of something like that, so I dropped it." Maya was quiet for a long moment. "Do you think she was really leaving?" Michael looked at his sleeping daughter, so fragile, so broken. "I think she was unhappy. I think I made her unhappy, and I think my mother made her life hell from the day we got engaged." His voice dropped. "But I don't think she would have left Emma. Whatever problems we had, she loved that little girl more than anything." "Then why would your mother say those things?" "Because my mother destroys whatever she can't control, and she couldn't control Caroline." At 11:02 a.m., Maya found something. She was tidying Emma's room while the little girl napped. Moving stuffed animals, straightening books. Behind a row of picture books, her hand touched paper. She pulled it out. An envelope. Sealed. With one word written on the front in elegant handwriting. Emma. Maya's heart stopped. She recognized that handwriting. She'd seen it on the shopping list stuck to the refrigerator, on the labels in Emma's closet. Caroline's handwriting, a letter, from Caroline to Emma, hidden where only someone who really searched would find it. Maya stared at it for a long moment. This wasn't hers to open, wasn't hers to read, but what if it changed everything? She found Michael in his study. His laptop was open, but he wasn't looking at it. He was staring out the window at Central Park. "Michael." He turned. Maya held out the envelope. "I found this in Emma's room, behind some books." Michael's face went pale when he saw the handwriting. That's Caroline's." "I know." His hands trembled as he took the envelope. He held it like it might explode. "Should I open it?" "It's addressed to Emma." "She's 4. She can't read." "She's 4 now. Maybe Caroline meant for her to read it when she was older." Michael stared at the envelope. His wife's final words. Hidden away. Waiting to be found. "I can't do this alone." Maya sat down across from him. "You don't have to." He opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper, covered in Caroline's handwriting. Michael's eyes scanned it once, twice. His face crumpled. Oh God, Caroline." "What does it say?" Michael couldn't speak. He handed her the letter. Maya read it slowly. "My darling Emma, if you're reading this, it means something happened to me. I hope you're grown now. I hope you're happy. I hope you know how much I loved you. Your grandmother has probably told you terrible things about me by now. She never approved of me, never accepted that your father and I fell in love. She'll try to make you doubt my love. Don't let her. I loved you from the moment I knew you existed. I loved you more than I've ever loved anything in my entire life. The truth is, baby girl, I was scared. Your father worked so much and I felt alone. I thought about leaving sometimes. Not because I didn't love him, but because I was drowning. But I could never leave you. Never. I was trying to find help. I was talking to a lawyer about how to protect you if anything ever happened to me. Because I knew your grandmother would try to take you. I knew she'd poison you against me. If you're reading this, please know I didn't choose to leave you. I would never choose to leave you. Whatever happened, whatever they tell you, my last thought was of you. I love you forever. Mommy." Maya's eyes were filled with tears. Michael was sobbing. Deep, broken sobs. She knew what my mother would do. She was trying to protect Emma. And I believed my mother. I let her make me doubt Caroline. I let her... He couldn't finish. Maya reached across and took his hand. "Michael, your wife loved you. She loved Emma. She wasn't leaving. She was trying to protect your family from someone who wanted to tear it apart." At 1:15 p.m., the phone call started. First, Michael's lawyer. "We have a problem. Victoria's team has found 3 more doctors to testify. They're saying Emma's breakdown is evidence of neglect. They're saying you knew she was suicidal and didn't get proper help. She wasn't suicidal, she was grieving. The doctors say otherwise. They're lying. That doesn't matter in court. What matters is what they can prove. Michael hung up. At 1:47 p.m., his CFO called. The board voted. I'm sorry, Michael. They removed you as CEO effective immediately. They're citing your extended absence and erratic behavior. I was taking care of my daughter. I know, but the shareholders don't care about that. They care about stock prices. And the stock dropped 15% this month. Michael laughed bitterly. Fine, let them have it. Michael, you built this company from nothing. And my daughter is worth more than any company. He hung up. At 2:33 p.m., a number he didn't recognize. Mr. Harrison, this is Jennifer Walsh from the New York Times. I'm writing a story about your family situation. Would you like to comment? How did you get this number? I have sources. Is it true that your daughter tried to starve herself to death? Is it true that your mother is filing for custody? Michael hung up, but his phone kept ringing. Different numbers, different outlets. Someone had leaked the story. At 3:15 p.m., Mrs. Wells came to him with tears in her eyes. Sir, you need to see this. She showed him her phone, a tabloid website. Billionaire's daughter on death's door inside the Harrison family's tragic breakdown. The article had pictures. Emma as a baby, Caroline at a charity event, Michael looking exhausted outside the penthouse, and quotes from sources close to the family saying Emma had been neglected for months. Michael knew exactly who the source was. At 3:48 p.m., Emma woke up. She walked into the kitchen where Michael and Maya were sitting in silence. Daddy, why do you look sad? Michael pulled her onto his lap. I'm okay, sweetheart, just tired. Miss Maya looks sad too. Maya managed a smile. I'm just thinking, baby. About what? About how strong you are. Emma considered this. I don't feel strong. I feel like a piece of paper that got wet, all soggy and falling apart. Maya's heart clenched. You know what happens to paper that gets wet? It tears. Sometimes, but sometimes if you're careful, if you let it dry slowly, it gets stronger. The fibers bond together differently. It's not the same paper anymore, but it's not broken either. Emma looked at her with those big blue eyes. Is that what's happening to me? I think so. I think you're drying out. And when you're done, you'll be stronger than you ever were before. At 4:22 p.m., Emma asked the question they'd all been avoiding. Daddy, is Grandma going to take me away? Michael's throat closed. He looked at Maya. She gave him a small nod. She's trying to, sweetheart. Why? Because she thinks she knows what's best for you. But she doesn't. She says mean things about Mommy. I know. Will you let her take me? Michael took her small hands in his. Listen to me, Emma. I will fight for you until my last breath. I will do everything in my power to keep you with me. But I need you to do something for me. What? I need you to keep fighting too. Keep eating, keep talking, keep being brave, because the judge is going to want to see that you're okay, and if you're okay, he won't let Grandma take you. Emma's lip trembled. I'm scared, Daddy. Me too, sweetheart, me too. But Miss Maya says being scared is okay. She says you can be scared and brave at the same time. Michael looked at Maya. Something passed between them. Gratitude, connection, something more. Miss Maya is a very smart woman. At 5:56 p.m., Michael made a decision. He called his lawyer. I want to show the judge Caroline's letter. What letter? Michael explained. His lawyer was quiet for a long moment. This could change everything. If we can prove Victoria was planning to alienate Emma from her mother even before Caroline died, it shows a pattern of manipulation. It's not admissible, is it? It's just a letter. It's a letter from a deceased mother to her daughter, written in her own hand. Any judge with a heart will at least consider it. What about the doctors, the testimonies? We'll get our own experts. We'll have Maya testify about Emma's progress. We'll show the judge that Emma is improving under your care, not despite it. At 7:15 p.m., Maya prepared to leave. Emma clung to her. Don't go. I'll be back first thing tomorrow, baby. What if Grandma comes back while you're gone? Maya knelt down to Emma's level. Then you be brave. You remember what I told you about your mama watching from the waiting place. She's cheering for you, Emma. Every time you eat, every time you smile, every time you stand up to someone who's trying to hurt you, she cheers. Emma threw her arms around Maya's neck. I wish you were my mommy. The words hit Maya like a physical blow. Her eyes filled with tears. "Oh, baby, I could never replace your mommy, but I can be here for you, like a big sister, like a friend, like someone who loves you very much." "Do you love me?" "Yes, Emma, I do. Even though we just met." Sometimes love doesn't care about time. Sometimes it just knows. Emma pulled back and looked at her with those wise, ancient eyes. "I think Mommy sent you, like an angel." Maya kissed her forehead. "I think maybe she did." At 8:03 p.m. After Emma was in bed, Michael walked Maya to the door. "Thank you for everything." "Don't thank me yet. The hearing is in 36 hours. "We'll be ready." Maya hesitated. There was something she needed to tell him. Something she'd discovered while researching the Harrison family on her phone during Emma's nap. "Michael, there's something you should know." "What?" "Your mother's maiden name. It was Reynolds, right?" Michael frowned. "Yes, why?" "Victoria Reynolds. She grew up in Connecticut. Old money? Very old." "I know my mother's background." "Do you know about her sister, Margaret Reynolds?" Michael's frown deepened. "Aunt Margaret died before I was born. Suicide, I think. No one ever talked about her." Maya's heart pounded. "Margaret Reynolds didn't die by suicide. She died in childbirth. In a home for unwed mothers. The baby was given up for adoption." "What does this have to do with anything?" "The baby was a girl. She was adopted by a family in Brooklyn. She grew up, had her own daughter, and then she died of cancer when that daughter was 7 years old." Michael stared at her. "Maya, what are you saying?" Maya's voice trembled. "I'm saying that my mother's adoption records were sealed, but I hired a private investigator 5 years ago to find out where I came from. He traced my mother's biological family to Connecticut, to the Reynolds family." The color drained from Michael's face. "You're saying..." "I'm saying that Victoria Harrison might be my grandmother, which means she's been trying to destroy the one family I never knew I had." Michael couldn't speak. Maya's eyes were filled with tears. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know until today. I came here because the agency said a little girl needed help. I came here because I knew what it felt like to lose a mother, but I never imagined..." She couldn't finish. Michael reached out and took her hands. "Maya, if this is true, then I'm not just a stranger who wandered into your life. I'm family, real family, and Victoria has been hiding this secret for 50 years. The night was cold. The city glittered below them, and somewhere across Manhattan, Victoria Harrison sat in her penthouse looking at an old photograph. A photograph of 2 young women. Sisters. One blonde, one dark-haired. Victoria and Margaret. Before everything fell apart. Before the secret that destroyed one life was buried so deep that it took 50 years to surface. She picked up her phone and dialed a number. "It's me. We have a problem. The new housekeeper. Find out everything about her. Tonight." She hung up and looked at the photograph again. "You should have stayed dead, Margaret," she whispered. "You and everyone who came from you." Michael stood in the doorway for a long time after Maya left. The cold February air seeped into the penthouse, but he didn't feel it. He didn't feel anything except the ground shifting beneath his feet. Maya Jenkins might be his cousin. The woman who had saved his daughter, who had walked into his life 3 days ago and changed everything, might be blood. And his mother had hidden this for 50 years. At 9:17 p.m., he finally closed the door. His hands were shaking as he pulled out his phone and called his lawyer. "Robert, I need you to dig into something." "Michael, it's late. The hearing is in 31 hours. "This is important. Margaret Reynolds, my mother's sister. She supposedly died before I was born. I need to know everything about her. Birth records, death records, hospital records, everything." "Why, what does this have to do with the custody case?" "Maybe nothing, maybe everything. Just do it." He hung up before Robert could ask more questions. Upstairs, Emma was sleeping. Michael checked on her 3 times between 9:30 and 10:15 p.m. Each time she was breathing peacefully. No nightmares, no crying. Whatever Maya had done, it was working. But now everything was complicated. At 10:47 p.m., his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Mr. Harrison, I have information about Maya Jenkins. Information your mother paid me to find. But I think you should see it first. Meet me at the coffee shop on 73rd and Madison. Tomorrow, 6 a.m. Come alone." Michael stared at the message. Someone on his mother's payroll was turning. He didn't sleep that night. At 5:42 a.m., Michael slipped out of the penthouse. Mrs. Wells was already awake, keeping watch over Emma. "If she wakes up, tell her I'll be back soon," Where are you going, sir? To find out the truth. The coffee shop was nearly empty at this hour. A few early morning workers, a homeless man nursing a cup of coffee in the corner, and a woman sitting alone at a back table. She was in her 50s. Professional clothes. Tired eyes. Mr. Harrison? You're the investigator, Diane Walsh. I've worked for your mother for 12 years. She gestured to the seat across from her. Please, sit. Michael sat. Why are you betraying her? Because what she's doing's wrong. And I can't be part of it anymore. Diane slid a folder across the table. Everything I found on Maya Jenkins is in there, but that's not why I called you. Then why, Tamam? Diane took a deep breath. Your mother didn't hire me just to investigate Maya. She hired me to destroy her, to find anything real or fabricated that would make her look unfit to be around your daughter. And did you find anything? No, Maya Jenkins is exactly what she appears to be, a good woman who survived a terrible childhood and built herself into something remarkable. Diane paused. But that's not going to stop Victoria. What do you mean? Diane pulled out another folder, thicker, older. I've been Victoria's investigator for 12 years. In that time, I've done things I'm not proud of. But last night, she asked me to do something I couldn't do. What? She asked me to fabricate evidence. Child abuse allegations against Maya, foster care records that don't exist, criminal history that never happened. Michael's blood ran cold. She's going to lie to the court. She's going to do whatever it takes to win. She always does. Diane pushed the second folder toward him. But in the process of doing my research, I found something she didn't want me to find, something she's been hiding for 50 years. Michael opened the folder. Inside were old documents, yellowed with age, hospital records, a birth certificate, a death certificate, and a photograph. 2 young women, teenagers, one blonde, one dark-haired. They were holding hands and smiling at the camera. That's Victoria and Margaret Reynolds, 1973, a year before Margaret supposedly died. Michael studied the photograph. He had never seen a picture of his aunt before. Victoria had destroyed them all. What happened to her? Margaret got pregnant at 17. The father was a black man who worked at their family's estate, a gardener. Michael's stomach dropped. Victoria's parents were horrified. They sent Margaret away to a home for unwed mothers in upstate New York. The plan was for her to give birth, quietly give the baby up for adoption, and come home like nothing happened. But that's not what happened. No, Margaret died in childbirth. Complications. The baby survived. Diane pointed to another document. A girl. She was adopted by a family in Brooklyn. The Jenkins family. Maya's mother. Yes, Maya's mother was Victoria's niece, which makes Maya Victoria's great-niece, my second cousin. The coffee shop seemed to spin around Michael. Victoria has known this whole time. She suspected. When Maya applied to the agency that placed her with your household, Victoria had already flagged certain names, certain backgrounds. She's been tracking Margaret's descendants for decades, making sure they never got too close. Why, what could she possibly gain from that? Diane looked at him with something like pity. Because Margaret didn't just die in childbirth, Mr. Harrison. She was murdered. At 7:15 a.m., Michael burst into the penthouse. Maya was already there making breakfast. Emma was sitting at the counter eating scrambled eggs. Daddy? Emma's face lit up. Miss Maya made eggs. I ate 4 bites already. Michael forced a smile. That's wonderful, sweetheart. Can you eat with Mrs. Wells for a minute? I need to talk to Miss Maya. Emma's face fell. Is something wrong? No, baby, everything's fine. I just need to talk to her about grown-up stuff. Mrs. Wells appeared and gently guided Emma to the other room. Michael waited until they were gone, then turned to Maya. We need to talk. What happened? You look like you've seen a ghost. I met with someone this morning, one of my mother's investigators. Maya's face went pale. What did she find? Everything, and more. Michael took her hands. Maya, my Aunt Margaret, didn't die in childbirth. She was murdered. Maya's legs gave out. Michael caught her and helped her to a chair. What? How? I don't have all the details yet, but the investigator found hospital records that don't match the official story. Margaret wasn't supposed to die. She was healthy. The delivery was normal, and then suddenly she had complications that made no sense medically. You think Victoria... I think Victoria has been hiding something terrible for 50 years, and I think she'll do anything to keep it hidden. Maya's hands were shaking. Michael, I can't. This is too much. I came here to help a little girl. I didn't ask for any of this." I know you didn't, but you're part of this family now whether either of us planned it or not, and my mother is trying to destroy you because of who you are. Maybe I should leave. Maybe if I go, she'll stop." "No." The word came from the doorway. Emma was standing there, tears streaming down her face. "Emma, you were supposed to stay with Mrs. Wells." "I heard what you said. Miss Maya can't leave. Please, Daddy. Please don't let her leave." Maya knelt down and opened her arms. Emma ran into them. "I'm not going anywhere, baby, I promise." "But you said maybe you should leave." "I was scared. Sometimes grown-ups get scared too." Emma pulled back and looked at her with those wise, ancient eyes. "My mama told me that being scared means something matters. She said if you're not scared, you don't care enough." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "Your mama was a very smart woman." "I know." Emma wiped her nose with her sleeve. "And she sent you here, so you can't leave. It would make her sad." Michael watched his daughter and Maya holding each other, and something shifted in his chest. Something that had been frozen for 6 months began to thaw. At 9:33 a.m., Robert called with news. "I found the records you asked about. Margaret Reynolds. This is... Michael, this is bad." "Tell me." Margaret was admitted to St. Catherine's Home for Unwed Mothers on March 15, 1974. She gave birth on November 2nd. A healthy baby girl. The delivery was routine. So what went wrong? According to the official records, nothing. Margaret died of postpartum hemorrhage 3 hours after delivery. But I pulled the hospital's internal records, the ones that weren't supposed to be released. She was given a medication that should never have been administered to a postpartum patient. It caused the hemorrhage. Who authorized the medication? The records don't say, but there was a visitor logged that day, someone who arrived an hour before Margaret started bleeding. Michael's hand tightened on the phone. "Who?" "Victoria Reynolds. Your mother visited her sister an hour before she died." The penthouse felt like it was closing in on him. "Are you saying my mother killed her own sister?" "I'm saying the evidence suggests she was there. I'm saying someone gave Margaret a medication that killed her. I'm saying your mother has spent 50 years covering this up." Robert paused. "And I'm saying this changes everything about the custody case." At 10:47 a.m., Victoria Harrison made her move. The doorbell rang. Mrs. Wells answered it and immediately tried to close the door. "She's not welcome here." But Victoria pushed past her with 2 men in suits. "I have a court order, emergency inspection. I'm entitled to assess my granddaughter's living conditions before tomorrow's hearing." Michael came down the stairs, his face like stone. "Get out of my house." "This is a legal inspection, Michael. Interfere and I'll have you arrested for obstruction." One of the men stepped forward. "Mr. Harrison, I'm James Wright, court-appointed inspector. I need to see Emma's room, her eating arrangements, and speak with all caregivers." Michael looked at his mother. She was smiling, that cold, triumphant smile he had learned to hate. "Fine, inspect whatever you want, but she stays here." He pointed at Victoria. "In this room. She doesn't go near Emma. I'm her grandmother. I have every right. You have no rights. Not in this house, not with my daughter." Victoria's smile flickered. The inspector spent an hour going through the penthouse. He examined Emma's room, spoke with Mrs. Wells, reviewed the meal logs that Maya had been keeping since she arrived. Then he asked to speak with Emma alone. Michael's entire body tensed. "Absolutely not." "Mr. Harrison, it's standard procedure. I need to assess her emotional state without parental influence. She's 4 years old. She's been traumatized. Having a stranger interrogate her will only make things worse." "It's not an interrogation. It's a conversation." Maya stepped forward. "Can I be present? I'm not family. I'm just her caregiver. But she trusts me. It might help her feel safe." The inspector considered this. That would be acceptable. They went to Emma's room. Emma was sitting on her bed clutching a stuffed rabbit. "Emma," the inspector said, kneeling down to her level, "my name is Mr. Wright. I just want to ask you some questions. Is that okay?" Emma looked at Maya. Maya nodded. "Okay. How are you feeling today, Emma? Better than before?" "Before when?" "Before Miss Maya came." The inspector glanced at Maya, then back at Emma. "What was it like before Miss Maya came?" Emma was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Sad. Everything was sad. I didn't want to eat because food made me think of Mommy. And now? Now I still think of Mommy. But Miss Maya says that's okay. She says I can miss Mommy and still eat. I can be sad and still live." The inspector wrote something in his notebook. Emma, do you feel safe here with your daddy? Yes. Has anyone ever hurt you? Emma hesitated. Emma, has anyone hurt you? Grandma hurt my heart. The inspector's pen stopped moving. How did she hurt your heart? She said Mommy didn't love me. She said Mommy was going to leave, but Miss Maya showed me that wasn't true. Mommy left me a letter. She said she would never leave me. She said Grandma would try to make me believe bad things. Maya's eyes filled with tears. The inspector finished his notes and stood up. Thank you, Emma. You were very brave. At 12:15 p.m., the inspector delivered his preliminary report to both parties. Based on my observations, Emma Harrison appears to be in good physical health and improving emotional state. The home environment is stable. The caregivers, including Miss Jenkins, demonstrate appropriate attachment and support. Victoria's face was like thunder. However, the inspector continued, Emma made concerning statements about her grandmother that warrant further investigation. I recommend the court consider these statements in tomorrow's hearing. Victoria stepped forward. Whatever that child said, she was coached. That woman, she pointed at Maya, has been manipulating her from the moment she walked into this house. I reported what I observed, Mrs. Harrison. That's my job. Your job is to protect my granddaughter from unfit caregivers, and that woman has a history you clearly didn't bother to investigate. Maya's stomach dropped. Victoria pulled out a folder. Maya Jenkins, aged out of foster care at 16, bounced between 12 different homes before that, multiple incidents of behavioral problems, suspected theft, suspected drug use. That's a lie, Maya said. Is it? Victoria smiled. I have documentation. Documentation you fabricated. Victoria's smile faltered. Just for a second. Michael stepped forward. Inspector Wright, my mother has a history of manufacturing evidence to get what she wants. I'd strongly recommend you verify any documentation she provides. Mr. Harrison, accusations like that. I have proof. Michael pulled out his own folder. This morning I met with Diane Walsh, my mother's personal investigator, for the past 12 years. She provided a sworn statement that my mother asked her to fabricate evidence against Maya Jenkins. False abuse allegations, fake criminal records, all of it made up. He handed the folder to the inspector. Victoria's face went white. That's absurd. Diane is a disgruntled former employee. Her word means nothing. She's not former. She's current. Or she was until she grew a conscience. Michael looked at his mother. Did you really think no one would ever turn on you? The inspector reviewed the documents. His expression grew darker with each page. Mrs. Harrison, if these allegations are true, you could face criminal charges for fraud and perjury. They're not true. This is a conspiracy. My son has turned everyone against me. Or maybe, Michael said quietly, you finally run out of people willing to cover for you. Victoria looked around the room. The inspector, Mrs. Wells, Maya, Michael. She was alone. For the first time in her life, she was completely alone. This isn't over, she hissed. I'll have that child if it's the last thing I do. She turned and walked out. The door slammed behind her. At 2:47 p.m., Maya found Michael in his study. He was staring at the documents about Margaret. How are you holding up? I don't know. He laughed bitterly. I just found out my mother might have killed her own sister. I'm not sure there's a handbook for that. Maya sat down across from him. Michael, I've been thinking. About what Diane said. About Margaret. What about her? If Victoria killed her to hide the pregnancy, to hide the baby, she's been carrying that guilt for 50 years. That kind of guilt doesn't just sit there. It festers. It turns into something poisonous. You're saying that explains why she is the way she is. I'm saying hurt people hurt people. It doesn't excuse what she's done. But it might explain it. Michael looked at her. Really looked at her. How are you so calm about all this? You just found out your grandmother murdered your grandmother's own sister. Your family history is built on blood. Maya touched the cross at her neck. I learned a long time ago that I can't control where I come from. I can only control where I'm going. Victoria's sins are not my sins. Margaret's tragedy is not my destiny. But doesn't it make you angry? Furious, but anger without purpose is just poison. I'd rather use that energy to help Emma, to help you, to build something good out of all this pain. Michael reached across and took her hand. I don't know what I'd do without you. You'd figure it out. You're stronger than you think. I'm not. Before you came, I was falling apart. I couldn't reach Emma. I couldn't function. I was just existing. That's grief. It's not weakness. It felt like weakness. Maya squeezed his hand. Michael, can I tell you something? Anything. When I walked into this house 3 days ago, I thought I was here to help a little girl. I didn't know anything about your family, about Victoria, about Margaret. I just saw a child who was drowning, and I knew I could help. And now I know there's a reason I'm here. Not just for Emma, for all of it. For you, for the truth about Margaret, for whatever comes next. Michael's eyes were wet. Maya, You don't have to say anything. No, I do. These past 3 days, you've become... I don't even know how to describe it. You're not just Emma's caregiver. You're not just my employee. You're... family. He smiled, the first real smile in months. Yeah, family. At 4:33 p.m., Emma came into the study. Daddy, Miss Maya. What is it, sweetheart? I want to show you something. She led them to her room. On the floor was a drawing. Emma had been working on it all afternoon. It's our family, she said proudly. Michael knelt down to look at it. 4 figures. A tall man, a little girl, a woman with dark skin, and in the corner, surrounded by clouds, another woman watching over them all. That's Daddy, that's me, that's Miss Maya, and that's Mommy in heaven. Michael's throat closed. It's beautiful, sweetheart. I made it for the judge tomorrow, so he knows we're a family, so he doesn't let Grandma take me away. Maya knelt beside her. Emma, can I tell you something? What? No matter what happens tomorrow, you are loved. By your daddy, by me, by Mrs. Wells, by your mommy in heaven, no judge can change that. No grandmother can take that away. Emma threw her arms around Maya. I love you, Miss Maya. I love you too, baby. Michael wrapped his arms around both of them. For a moment, everything was still. Everything was perfect. Then Michael's phone buzzed, a text from Robert. I found something else, about Victoria, about the night Caroline died. You need to see this immediately. At 6:15 p.m., Robert arrived at the penthouse with a briefcase full of documents. I wasn't going to bring this to you tonight. I thought you had enough to deal with before the hearing. But then I kept digging, and I found... Found what? Robert took a deep breath. Michael, the drunk driver who killed Caroline. His name was Thomas Brennan. Does that name mean anything to you? No, should it? He worked for a landscaping company in Connecticut, the same company that services your mother's estate. Michael's blood went cold. What are you saying? I'm saying that 2 weeks before the accident, Thomas Brennan received a payment of $50,000 from an offshore account. An account that I traced back to a shell company owned by your mother. The room spun. No, that's impossible. Even she wouldn't. There's more. The night Caroline died, she wasn't coming from her mother's house. I checked the security footage from the toll booths. She was coming from upstate New York, from a storage facility. What storage facility? Robert pulled out a photograph. St. Catherine's Home for Unwed Mothers closed in 1989, but some of their records were moved to a private storage facility. Caroline was there. She signed in under her maiden name. Why would Caroline go there? I don't know, but I think she found something. Something about Margaret. Something your mother didn't want anyone to find. Michael felt like he was going to be sick. You're saying my mother had my wife killed because Caroline discovered the truth about Margaret. I'm saying the evidence points in that direction. I'm saying your wife died on her way home from finding something that could have destroyed Victoria, and I'm saying Thomas Brennan walked away from that accident with $50,000 and disappeared 6 months later. Disappeared. He was found dead in Mexico, apparent overdose, no investigation. Michael sat down heavily. His mother hadn't just killed Margaret, she had killed Caroline, and she had been planning to take Emma. At 7:45 p.m., Michael made a decision. We're not just fighting for custody anymore. We're going to the police. We're going to expose everything. Robert shook his head. We can't. Not yet. The evidence is circumstantial. Victoria has the best lawyers money can buy. If we go to the police now, she'll destroy the evidence and walk away clean. So what do? We win the custody hearing first, we protect Emma, and then we build an airtight case, one she can't escape from. Maya spoke up. There might be another way. Both men turned to look at her. Victoria's guilt has been eating at her for 50 years. I've seen people like her before. In the foster system, they do terrible things and then they spend the rest of their lives terrified of being caught. So sometimes the best way to get a confession isn't through evidence, it's through pressure. Make her think the walls are closing in. Make her think everyone knows, and eventually she'll crack. Michael shook his head. You don't know my mother. She doesn't crack. Everyone cracks, eventually. You just have to find the right pressure point. At 9:22 p.m., Emma was in bed. Michael sat beside her reading her a story, the same book Caroline used to read. Daddy? Yes, sweetheart. Are you scared about tomorrow? A little bit. Me too. Emma clutched her stuffed rabbit. But Miss Maya says being scared is okay. She says it means something matters. Miss Maya is very wise. Daddy? Yes. If the judge says I have to go with Grandma, will you still love me? Michael's heart shattered. Emma, listen to me. Nothing in this world will ever make me stop loving you. No judge, no grandmother, nothing. You are my heart. You are the best thing that ever happened to me, and I will fight for you until my last breath. Emma's eyes filled with tears. I don't want to go with Grandma. She scares me. You won't have to, I promise. But what if the judge doesn't believe us? Michael pulled her close. Then we'll keep fighting. We'll appeal. We'll find another way, because that's what families do. They never give up on each other. Emma was quiet for a moment. Then she said something that broke Michael's heart wide open. I wish Mommy was here. She would know what to do. I know, sweetheart. I wish she was here too. Do you think she's watching? Like Miss Maya said from the waiting place. I think she is. I think she's watching right now, and I think she's proud of how brave you've been. Emma smiled through her tears. Miss Maya says Mommy sent her, like an angel. Maybe she did? Daddy? Yes. I think Mommy sent Miss Maya for you too, not just for me. Michael's breath caught. What do you mean? You were so sad after Mommy died. You didn't smile anymore. You didn't read to me. You were disappearing like me, but now you're coming back, because of Miss Maya, out of the mouths of babes. You're right, sweetheart. Miss Maya has helped both of us. Do you love her? The question hung in the air. Michael thought about Maya, her strength, her kindness, her ability to see the good in people even when they couldn't see it in themselves. I think I'm starting to. Emma smiled. Good, because I love her too, and I think Mommy would be okay with that. She would want us to be happy. Michael kissed her forehead. When did you get so smart? I was always smart, Daddy. You just weren't paying attention. At 11:15 p.m. Michael found Maya on the balcony. She was staring out at the city, lost in thought. Can't sleep? She turned. Too much in my head. Me too. They stood in silence for a moment. The city glittered below them. A million lives going on oblivious to the drama unfolding in this penthouse. Maya, I need to tell you something. What? Emma asked me if I love you. Maya's breath caught. What did you tell her? The truth, that I'm starting to. Maya was quiet for a long moment. Michael, you don't have to say anything. I know this is complicated. I know we've only known each other for 3 days. I know there's a custody hearing tomorrow and my mother might be a murderer and everything is falling apart. But I've never felt this way before. Not even with Caroline, if I'm being honest. What I feel when I'm with you, it's like coming home. Like finding something I didn't know I was looking for. Maya's eyes were wet. I feel it too. You do. From the moment I walked into that kitchen, I knew something was different. I told myself I was here for Emma, but part of me knew it was more than that. Michael took her hands. Whatever happens tomorrow, I want you to know that you've changed my life. I have changed Emma's life. You've given us hope when we had none. Maya stepped closer. Michael, I'm scared. Of what? Of wanting this, of believing I can have something this good. Every time I've loved something, I've lost it. My mother, my grandmother, every foster family who promised to keep me and then sent me away. I'm not going to send you away. You can't promise that. Tomorrow could change everything. No. Michael cupped her face in his hands. Tomorrow won't change this. No matter what happens in that courtroom, this is real. We are real. He kissed her. It was gentle at first, hesitant, then deeper, more desperate. Two people who had been drowning finally finding solid ground. When they finally pulled apart, both were crying. I love you, Maya whispered. I know it's too fast. I know it's crazy, but I love you. I love you too. They held each other on the balcony until the first light of dawn began to paint the sky. At 5:30 a.m. the day of the hearing, Michael's phone rang. Mr. Harrison, this is Judge Patricia Coleman's clerk. There's been a development. The hearing has been moved up. You need to be at the courthouse in 2 hours. What? Why? Mrs. Victoria Harrison filed an emergency motion. She claims she has evidence that Emma is in immediate danger. The judge wants to hear both sides as soon as possible. Michael's blood ran cold. We'll be there. He hung up and turned to Maya. Victoria made her move. The hearing is in 2 hours. Maya's face went pale, but then something shifted. Her jaw set, her eyes hardened. Then we better get ready. At 7:15 a.m., Michael, Maya, and Robert arrived at the courthouse. Emma was with Mrs. Wells at the penthouse. They had decided it was better to keep her away from the chaos. Victoria was already there. She was sitting in the front row, flanked by 3 lawyers in expensive suits. Her face was calm, confident, like she had already won. Michael took his seat across the aisle. Maya sat behind him. Their eyes met briefly. Whatever happens, that look said, "We face it together." The judge entered. Patricia Coleman, a woman in her 60s with silver hair and sharp eyes. She had a reputation for being fair but ruthless. This emergency hearing is now in session. Mrs. Harrison, you filed the motion. Present your evidence. Victoria's lead lawyer stood. Your Honor, we have evidence that Miss Maya Jenkins, currently employed as a caregiver for Emma Harrison, has a history of mental instability. We believe Emma is in immediate danger. Robert jumped to his feet. Objection. Your Honor, we have evidence that any documentation from Mrs. Harrison has been fabricated. I'll hear both sides. Continue, Mr. Walsh. Victoria's lawyer presented documents, psychiatric evaluations, hospital records, police reports, all fake, all manufactured. But they looked real. Very real. Maya watched her past being rewritten in front of her eyes. A past that had never happened. A person she had never been. And she wondered if anyone would believe the truth. Robert presented his counter-evidence, Diane Walsh's sworn statement, the proof of Victoria's fraud. The judge reviewed everything with a frown. This is highly irregular. Both sides are accusing each other of fabricating evidence. I need time to verify these documents. Your Honor, Victoria's lawyer said, while we wait for verification, we ask that Emma be removed from her father's care as a precautionary measure. Absolutely not, Robert fired back. There's no evidence of any danger to Emma. In fact, Emma has shown remarkable improvement since Miss Jenkins arrived. The judge held up her hand. I want to hear from Miss Jenkins directly. Maya's heart stopped. Miss Jenkins, please approach the bench. Maya stood on shaking legs. She walked to the front of the courtroom and faced the judge. Miss Jenkins, what is your relationship with Emma Harrison? I'm her caregiver, Your Honor. I've been working for the family for 3 days. And in those 3 days, what changes have you observed? When I arrived, Emma hadn't eaten in 2 weeks. She wasn't speaking. She was withering away. Maya's voice was steady despite her fear. Now she's eating. She's talking. She's healing. And how did you accomplish what apparently 12 specialists could not? Maya took a deep breath. I didn't do anything special, Your Honor. I just understood what she was going through. I lost my own mother when I was 7. I know what it feels like to want to disappear. I know what it feels like to think dying is easier than living. The courtroom was silent. Emma didn't need specialists. She needed someone who understood, someone who could sit with her in the darkness without trying to fix it, someone who could show her that the pain eventually gets softer. Judge Coleman studied her for a long moment. Miss Jenkins, do you have any response to Mrs. Harrison's allegations about your mental health history? Maya looked at Victoria, the woman who might have killed her grandmother, the woman who was trying to destroy her life. Your Honor, everything in those documents is a lie. I've never been hospitalized for mental health issues. I've never been arrested. I've never done anything that Mrs. Harrison's documents claim. Can you prove that I can provide my actual records, my real history, but more importantly, I can tell you something about Mrs. Harrison that might explain why she's so desperate to destroy me? Victoria's face went pale. What do you mean, Buck? The judge asked. Maya turned to face Victoria directly. My mother was adopted. Her birth name was Margaret Reynolds. She was the daughter of Victoria Harrison's sister, a sister who was sent away to hide an unwanted pregnancy, a sister who died under suspicious circumstances. The courtroom erupted. Victoria shot to her feet. That's a lie. Mrs. Harrison, sit down, the judge commanded. Miss Jenkins, continue. Victoria Harrison has spent 50 years hiding what happened to her sister, and when I walked into that penthouse, she recognized my face, because I look like Margaret. I look like the woman she's been running from for half a century." Victoria's lawyer jumped up. "Your Honor, this is completely irrelevant to the custody hearing." "On the contrary," Maya said, "it's entirely relevant because it explains why Victoria Harrison is willing to fabricate evidence, why she's willing to destroy an innocent person's reputation, why she's been trying to get custody of Emma from the moment Caroline died." "Your Honor, let her finish, Mr. Walsh." Maya's voice grew stronger. "Caroline Harrison wasn't just Michael's wife. She was investigating Victoria. She was getting close to the truth about Margaret, and now she's dead. And Victoria is trying to take the one person who meant everything to her." The judge looked at Victoria. "Mrs. Harrison, do you have any response to these allegations?" Victoria's mask was cracking, her composure slipping. "This is ridiculous. This woman is clearly mentally disturbed. She's concocted an elaborate fantasy to—" "It's not a fantasy." Michael stood up. "I have documentation, Your Honor. Hospital records from 1974. Financial records showing payments to the driver who killed my wife. Evidence that my mother has been covering up multiple crimes for 50 years. He handed a thick folder to the bailiff, who passed it to the judge. Judge Coleman reviewed the documents. Her expression grew darker with each page. "Mrs. Harrison, these are serious allegations." "They're lies, all of it. My son has been manipulated by that woman." "Your Honor," Roberts said, "we request that Mrs. Harrison's custody petition be dismissed, and we ask the court to launch an investigation into the allegations presented today." Victoria's face twisted with rage. "You ungrateful little Mrs. Harrison," the judge said sharply, "control yourself." But Victoria was past control. "I made you," she hissed at Michael. "Everything you have is because of me, your company, your money, your precious Caroline. I let you have all of it, and this is how you repay me." "You let me have Caroline? What does that mean, Mother?" Victoria's eyes went wild. "I could have stopped that wedding. I could have destroyed her before you ever said I do. But I let it happen. I let you have your little fantasy, and then she betrayed me. She went snooping where she didn't belong. She was going to ruin everything." The courtroom was dead silent. Victoria suddenly seemed to realize what she was saying. I didn't mean—" "Mrs. Harrison," Judge Coleman's voice was ice. "Are you confessing to involvement in your daughter-in-law's death?" No, I just meant—" "She was going to expose lies about my family. Old lies. Things that didn't matter anymore." "Things like murder?" Maya asked quietly. "Things like what happened to Margaret?" Victoria looked at Maya, really looked at her, and for just a moment at Destambiat the mask fell completely. "You look just like her," she whispered. "Just like Margaret. Those same eyes. That same righteous look. What happened to her, Victoria? What did you do?" Victoria's lip trembled. "She was going to ruin everything. She was going to keep that baby, raise it, let everyone know that a Reynolds had a child with a black man. Our family would have been destroyed. So you killed her." "I saved our family." Victoria's voice cracked. "I did what had to be done, and I've had to keep doing it, over and over, because people just won't let the past stay buried." The courtroom exploded. Judge Coleman banged her gavel. Order in the court." Victoria seemed to come back to herself. She looked around at the chaos, at the horror on everyone's faces, and realized what she had done. I want my lawyer. I'm not saying anything else." "Mrs. Harrison, you are under arrest for suspicion of murder." Judge Coleman nodded to the bailiff. "Take her into custody." Victoria screamed as they put the handcuffs on. Michael, please, I did it for you. I did everything for you. Michael watched his mother being dragged away. He felt nothing. After 50 years, the truth was finally out. The courtroom emptied slowly. People filed out in stunned silence, whispering to each other about what they had just witnessed. A billionaire's mother confessing to murder. A 50-year cover-up exposed. A family torn apart in front of their eyes. Michael didn't move. He sat in his chair, staring at the spot where his mother had stood, where she had screamed his name as they dragged her away. At 11:47 a.m., Maya touched his shoulder. "Michael, we need to go home. Emma is waiting." He looked up at her. His eyes were empty, shell-shocked. "She killed them, both of them, Margaret. Caroline, my mother is a murderer." "I know. How do I tell Emma? How do I tell my daughter that her grandmother killed her mother?" Maya knelt beside him. "You don't. Not yet. Not until she's ready. Right now, all Emma needs to know is that she's safe, that she's staying with you, that the bad times are over. Are the bad times really over? Maya took his hands. The hardest part is done. The truth is out. Now we rebuild. At 12:15 p.m. they arrived at the penthouse. Mrs. Wells was waiting at the door. Her face was pale. "Sir, something happened while you were gone." Michael's heart stopped. "Emma." "She's fine. She's in her room, but she had a visitor." "Who?" Mrs. Wells hesitated. "Victoria's lawyer. He came before we heard the news. He told Emma that her grandmother loved her, that she was going to come take her to a better place." Maya's blood ran cold. He told a 4-year-old that her grandmother was coming to take her away. I tried to stop him, but he had court documents. He said it was his right as legal counsel. Michael pushed past her and ran up the stairs. Maya followed close behind. Emma's door was open. The little girl was sitting on her bed, clutching her stuffed rabbit, rocking back and forth. "Emma, baby." She looked up. Her eyes were terrified. "Daddy, the man said Grandma is coming. He said she's going to take me away and I'll never see you again." Michael crossed the room and scooped her into his arms. "No, sweetheart, no one is taking you anywhere. Grandma isn't coming." "But he said..." "He was wrong. Grandma made some very bad choices and now she has to go away for a long time. She can't take you. No one can take you from me." Emma's body was shaking. "I was so scared, Daddy. I thought you were gone forever. I thought Miss Maya was gone forever. I thought everyone was going to leave me like Mommy did." Maya sat on the bed beside them. "Emma, look at me." The little girl turned her tear-stained face. "We're not going anywhere. Your daddy is right here. I'm right here. Mrs. Wells is right here. You have a whole family of people who love you, and we're not leaving. Promise?" "I promise on my mama's grave. And you know I don't break promises about my mama." Emma reached out and grabbed Maya's hand, holding it tight against her father's. "I want us to stay like this forever, all of us together." At 1:33 p.m. Robert called with news. "The custody case is officially closed. Judge Coleman dismissed Victoria's petition with prejudice. She also granted you full and permanent custody of Emma. No one can challenge it now." Michael let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. "What about the criminal charges?" "Victoria is being held without bail. The DA is charging her with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Margaret Reynolds and Caroline Harrison. They're also looking at Thomas Brennan's death in Mexico. She killed the driver, too. They think so, covering her tracks. The investigation is going to take months, maybe years. But with her confession in open court, she's not getting out." Michael hung up. It was over. It was finally over. At 2:15 p.m., Emma asked to have lunch. A real lunch. Not just bread or crackers, but actual food. "Can we have chicken nuggets?" she asked. "Mommy used to make them homemade. She said the frozen ones were garbage." Michael laughed. The first real laugh in months. "I don't know if we have the stuff to make homemade chicken nuggets." Maya stood up. "I do. My grandma taught me. It's not hard. Just chicken breadcrumbs and a lot of love." Emma's eyes lit up. "Can I help?" "Absolutely." They went to the kitchen together. Mrs. Wells watched from the doorway, tears streaming down her face. "I never thought I'd see her like this again," she whispered to Michael. "After Caroline died, I thought we'd lost her forever." "We almost did." "That woman saved her, Maya. I don't know where she came from or why God sent her to us, but she's a miracle." Michael watched Maya helping Emma bread the chicken. The little girl was giggling, actually giggling. The sound was so foreign, so beautiful, that it hurt to hear. "She's not just a miracle," Michael said quietly. "She's family." At 3:47 p.m., while Emma was napping off a full belly, Michael found Maya on the balcony. "How are you holding up?" She turned. Her eyes were red. "I don't know. It's a lot to process. Finding out my grandmother was murdered, finding out the woman who did it has been alive this whole time, finding out she killed Caroline, too." "I'm sorry you got dragged into all of this." Maya shook her head. "I wasn't dragged. I walked in, eyes open, and I'd do it again." "Why?" "Because of Emma, because of you." She paused. "Because this is the first time in my life I felt like I belong somewhere." Michael moved closer. "Maya, I need to ask you something." "What?" "After everything settles down, after the investigation is over and the media moves on to something else, after Emma is stronger and life goes back to whatever normal looks like now." He took her hands. "Will you stay? Stay? With us? With me and Emma? Not as a housekeeper, not as a caregiver, As family. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Michael, I know it's fast. I know we've only known each other for a few days, but those days have been more real than most of my entire life. I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose you. Maya touched his face. I don't want to lose you either. Then stay, please. She nodded slowly. Okay, I'll stay. He kissed her. Gentle. Tender. A promise of things to come. At 5:22 p.m., Michael's phone rang. A number he didn't recognize. Mr. Harrison, this is Detective Sarah Martinez. I'm the lead investigator on the Victoria Harrison case. I need to speak with you and Miss Jenkins. Can you come to the precinct tomorrow morning? What's this about? We found something at your mother's house, something you need to see. At 9:15 a.m. the next morning, Michael and Maya sat in an interview room at the 19th precinct. Detective Martinez was across from them, a folder in her hands. We executed a search warrant at Victoria Harrison's residence yesterday. We found a safe in her bedroom, hidden behind a painting. Michael's jaw tightened. I didn't know she had a safe. Nobody did. It was professionally concealed, but when we opened it, Detective Martinez pulled out several items sealed in evidence bags. We found these. The first bag contained photographs, old photographs. A young woman with dark hair holding a baby. Maya's breath caught. That's my grandmother. That's Margaret. Yes, and that's your mother as an infant. These photographs prove Victoria knew the baby survived. She's been tracking your family for 50 years. The second bag contained documents, birth certificates, adoption records, school transcripts. These are records for your mother, and for you. Victoria had files on both of you. She knew where you lived, where you worked, where you went to school. Maya felt sick. She's been watching me my whole life. It appears so. We also found something else. Detective Martinez pulled out a third bag. Inside was a handwritten letter. This was in a sealed envelope at the bottom of the safe. It's addressed to you, Mr. Harrison. Michael took the evidence bag. Through the plastic, he could read the letter. It was from Caroline. At 9:47 a.m., Michael read his wife's final words. My dearest Michael, if you're reading this, something has happened to me. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm being paranoid. But your mother is not who you think she is. I've spent the last year investigating her. I found records of her sister Margaret. I found evidence that Margaret didn't die the way your mother claimed. I found payments to people. Payments that don't make sense. I think your mother has been hiding something terrible. Something that goes back 50 years. I'm going to a storage facility tomorrow to get the final piece of evidence. If I find what I think I'm going to find, I'll bring it straight to you. But if something happens to me, if your mother does what I think she's capable of doing, please know this. I love you. I love Emma. And I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I was trying to protect you. I was trying to be sure before I destroyed your relationship with your mother. Now I realize I should have trusted you. Whatever happens, please take care of our daughter. And please, Michael, find Maya Jenkins. She's Margaret's granddaughter. She deserves to know the truth about her family. She deserves to know she's not alone in this world. All my love, always and forever. Caroline? Michael couldn't breathe. She knew. Caroline knew about Maya. Detective Martinez nodded. Based on this letter and the evidence we've gathered, heart that we believe Caroline was murdered to prevent her from exposing Victoria's crimes. She was killed the night she planned to show you everything. Maya was crying. Caroline wanted to find me. She wanted me to know about my family. Yes, and we believe Victoria found this letter in Caroline's belongings after her death. She kept it, perhaps as insurance, perhaps as a trophy. We may never know. Michael stood up abruptly. I need air. He walked out of the interview room. Maya followed him. In the hallway, he slammed his fist against the wall. She knew Maya. Caroline knew everything. She was trying to protect us, and it got her killed. Michael. My mother has destroyed everything. Everything. She killed Margaret. She killed Caroline. She tried to take Emma. She's been stalking your family for 50 years. Maya took his hands and held them still. Michael, look at me. He raised his eyes. They were filled with rage and grief. Victoria is done. She's in prison. She's never getting out. And Caroline's death, Margaret's death, they won't be forgotten. Justice is coming. It's not enough. Nothing is enough. You're right. It's not. But it's what we have. And we have to keep living. For Emma. For each other. For Caroline's memory. Michael's shoulders sagged. I don't know how to live with this. Knowing what she did. Knowing I came from someone capable of such evil. You're not her, Michael. You're not defined by what she did. You're defined by what you do, and what you've done is protect your daughter. Love her. Fight for her. That's who you are. At 11:30 a.m., they returned to the penthouse. Emma was in the living room with Mrs. Wells drawing pictures. Daddy, Miss Maya. She ran to them and grabbed their hands. Come see what I made. She led them to the table where a stack of drawings waited. This one is our family. She pointed to 4 figures. That's you, Daddy. That's Miss Maya. That's me. And that's Mommy in heaven. Michael knelt down. It's beautiful, sweetheart. And this one is for Grandma. Emma held up another drawing, a single figure behind bars. Mrs. Wells said Grandma is in a place for people who do bad things, so I drew her there. Michael didn't know whether to laugh or cry. How do you feel about Grandma being in that place? Emma thought about it. Sad, but also safe. She said mean things about Mommy. She made me scared. I don't want to see her anymore. You don't have to, baby. You never have to see her again if you don't want to. Emma nodded solemnly. Good. Then her face brightened. Miss Maya, can we make cookies? Mrs. Wells said you know how to make the best cookies. Maya smiled through her tears. I would love to make cookies with you. At 2:45 p.m., the penthouse smelled like chocolate chip cookies. Emma had flour on her nose and chocolate on her fingers. She was happier than she'd been in months. Michael watched from the doorway, his heart full and broken at the same time. His phone buzzed. Robert, we need to talk about the company. Not now. Michael, the board is in chaos. With Victoria's arrest, the shareholders are panicking. The stock has dropped 30% in 2 days. I don't care about the stock. You should, because if the company fails, you won't have the resources to fight whatever comes next. Legal fees alone from Victoria's case are going to be astronomical. Michael sighed. What do you suggest? Come back, not full-time, but make an appearance. Show the board you're still in control. Stabilize things. And Emma. Bring Maya. Bring Mrs. Wells. Make it clear you have a support system, but you need to be seen, Michael. You need to show strength. At 4:15 p.m., Michael made a decision. I have to go to the office tomorrow. Maya looked up from where she was helping Emma decorate cookies. Are you sure the company is in trouble? If it fails, I won't be able to take care of Emma the way she needs. I understand. Go. We'll be fine here. Emma tugged at his sleeve. Daddy, will you be gone long? Just for a few hours, sweetheart. I'll be back before dinner. Promise? Promise. Emma held up her pinky. Pinky, promise. That's what Mommy always said. Pinky promises can't be broken. Michael hooked his pinky around hers. Pinky promise. At 8:30 p.m., after Emma was in bed, Michael and Maya sat on the couch together. The city glittered outside the windows. What happens now? Maya asked. I don't know. The investigation will take months. The trial could take years. The media is going to dig into everything. Are you ready for that? No, but I don't have a choice. He turned to look at her. Maya, the press is going to find out about you, about your connection to Margaret. It's going to become a story. I know. Are you ready for that? Maya was quiet for a moment. All my life I've been invisible. A foster kid nobody wanted. A woman from Brooklyn, working jobs nobody respected. I've never had anyone looking at me. And now I have you. And Emma, and a family I never knew existed. She took his hand. I'd rather face the cameras with you than be invisible alone. Michael kissed her forehead. We'll face it together. All of it. At 10:47 p.m., Michael's phone rang again. This time it was a number from the prison. Mr. Harrison? This is the visitor coordinator at Rikers Island. Your mother is requesting to see you. Michael's blood went cold. No. Sir, she's quite insistent. She says she has information that will change everything. I said no. Don't call me again. He hung up. Maya looked at him with concern. Victoria. She wants to see me. Claims she has information. Are you going to go? No, I'm done with her. Whatever she has to say, I don't want to hear it. But Maya saw something in his eyes, a flicker of doubt. Michael, what if she does know something? What if there's more to this story? There's always more with her. That's how she operates. She dangles information to manipulate people. I'm not playing her games anymore. Maya nodded slowly. Okay, but if you change your mind, I'll go with you. You'd do that after everything she's done to your family. I'd do anything for you and for Emma, even face a monster. At 7:30 a.m. the next morning, Michael prepared to leave for the office. Emma clung to his leg. Don't go, Daddy. Stay home with us. I have to, sweetheart. but I'll be back before you know it. What if something bad happens while you're gone? Michael knelt down to her level. Nothing bad is going to happen. Miss Maya is here. Mrs. Wells is here. You're safe. But what if Grandma escapes? The man on TV said she's a dangerous criminal. Michael's jaw tightened. She's not escaping, Emma. She's locked up tight. And even if she tried, she could never get to you. I have people watching this building. Nobody can hurt you. Emma didn't look convinced. Maya crouched beside them. Emma, do you remember what I told you about my grandma, about how she sat with me every day after my mama died? Emma nodded. Well, today I'm going to sit with you. We're going to make pancakes and draw pictures and watch movies. And every time you feel scared, you can hold my hand and remember that you're not alone. Emma looked at Maya for a long moment. Okay, but Daddy has to call, every hour. Michael smiled. Every hour, I promise. At 9:15 a.m., Michael walked into Harrison Enterprises for the first time in 3 weeks. The building felt different. The employees looked at him differently, some with sympathy, some with curiosity, some with barely concealed judgment. His CFO, Richard Walsh, met him at the elevator. Michael, thank God you're here. The board is in emergency session. They're talking about bringing in outside management. Over my dead body. That's what I told them. But with everything that's happened with Victoria's arrest and the media coverage, my mother's crimes are not my crimes. This company was built on my innovations, my work, my vision, not hers. I know that, but perception matters. Michael walked into the boardroom. 12 faces turned to look at him, some hostile, some sympathetic, all uncertain. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael said, taking his seat at the head of the table, I understand you have concerns. Let me address them. For the next 2 hours, he fought for his company, presented data, made projections, answered questions, defended his leadership. By 11:30 a.m., the board had agreed to table the discussion of outside management. But the message was clear they were watching. One more crisis, and he could lose everything. At 11:45 a.m., Michael called the penthouse. Emma, sweetheart, are you okay? Daddy, I made a pancake that looks like a bear. Miss Maya helped me. That's wonderful, baby. I'll be home in a few hours. Okay, I love you. I love you too. He hung up and leaned back in his chair. His assistant knocked on the door. Mr. Harrison, there's someone here to see you. She says she's from the DA's office. Michael frowned. Send her in. A woman in her 30s entered. Professional suit, sharp eyes. Mr. Harrison, I'm Assistant DA Patricia Chen. I'm handling your mother's case. What can I do for you? I need to inform you that your mother has decided to plead guilty. Michael sat up straight. What? She's waiving her right to trial. She'll be entering a guilty plea this afternoon in exchange for a life sentence without parole. Why would she do that? She says she wants to spare you and your daughter the trauma of a public trial. Patricia Chen paused. But frankly, I think she knows she can't win. The evidence is overwhelming. The confession was in open court. So this is over just like that? Not entirely. As part of the plea deal, she's agreed to provide full disclosure about all her crimes, including any we haven't discovered yet. Michael's stomach dropped. There's more we don't know. That's what the disclosure will reveal, but I wanted to warn you. Whatever she tells us, it's going to become public record. The media will have access. Wonderful. I'm sorry, Mr. Harrison. I know this has been difficult for your family. After she left, Michael stared out the window at the city below. Millions of people going about their lives, unaware that his world kept fracturing into smaller and smaller pieces. At 12:30 p.m., his phone buzzed. A text from Maya. Something's wrong. Emma had a nightmare. She's asking for you. Michael was out the door in 30 seconds. He made it home in 15 minutes. A new record. Emma was on Maya's lap on the couch, crying into her shoulder. Daddy, she launched herself at him as he caught her and held her tight. I'm here, sweetheart. I'm here. I had a bad dream. Grandma was coming for me. She was breaking through the walls. She said she was going to take me away forever. It was just a dream, baby. Just a dream. Grandma can't get to you. But what if she can? What if she has powers? What if she can walk through walls like a ghost? Michael looked at Maya over Emma's head. She looked shaken. She was screaming. Maya whispered. Screaming so loud I couldn't calm her down. Michael sat on the couch with Emma in his lap. Listen to me, sweetheart. Grandma is in prison, a special prison for people who do bad things. It has big walls and lots of guards. She can never get out. But what if she tricks them? What if she lies to them, like she lied to everyone else? The guards know she's a liar. They won't believe anything she says. Emma looked at him with those big blue eyes. Daddy, I don't want to be scared anymore. I'm tired of being scared. Michael's heart broke. I know, baby. I know you are, and I promise it's going to get better. The scared feelings won't go away overnight, but they'll get smaller. Every day, a little bit smaller. How do you know Because Miss Maya told me, and Miss Maya is always right. Emma looked at Maya. Are you always right, Miss Maya? Maya smiled through her tears. Not always, but about this, yes. I was scared for a long time after my mama died. And slowly, day by day, the scared got smaller, until one day I woke up and realized I wasn't scared anymore. How long did it take? A while, but you know what helped? What? Having people who loved me, having people who reminded me I was safe, having people who held me when the dreams got bad. Emma thought about this. I have people who love me. I have Daddy, and Mrs. Wells, and you. That's right, and we're not going anywhere. Emma was quiet for a long moment. Then she said something that surprised all of them. Miss Maya, are you going to be my new mommy? The room went silent. Maya looked at Michael. Michael looked at Maya. Emma, Maya said carefully, I could never replace your mommy. Your mommy was special. She loved you more than anything in the world. I know, but Daddy said you're going to stay, and I want you to stay forever, like a mommy would. Maya's eyes filled with tears. I would be honored to be part of your family, Emma, however you want that to look. Emma turned to Michael. Daddy, do you love Miss Maya? Michael didn't hesitate. Yes, sweetheart, I do. Do you want her to stay forever? Yes? Emma nodded solemnly. Then you should marry her. That's what people do when they love each other and want to stay forever. Michael looked at Maya. She looked at him. And in that moment, something shifted. Something that had been building for days finally clicked into place. Emma, Michael said slowly, that's not a bad idea. Maya's breath caught. Michael, I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. I know we've only known each other for a week, but everything in my life that matters has happened this week. Meeting you, saving Emma, finding out the truth about my family, falling in love. Michael, you don't have to. I want to. I want you to be part of this family, officially, permanently. Emma was bouncing on the couch. Say yes, Miss Maya. Say yes. Maya looked at the little girl's hopeful face, at Michael's earnest eyes, at the future stretching out before them. Okay, she whispered. Yes. Emma screamed with joy and threw herself at both of them. At 3:45 p.m., Mrs. Wells found out the news. She burst into tears immediately. Oh, praise Jesus, praise Jesus. She hugged Maya so tight Maya could barely breathe. I knew it. I knew from the moment you walked into this house. I told myself that woman is special. That woman is going to change everything. Mrs. Wells, I can't breathe. Sorry. She let go but grabbed Maya's hands. You're going to be so happy, all of you. I can feel it. At 5:15 p.m., Michael and Maya told Robert, You're getting married to the housekeeper. She's not just a housekeeper, she's so... I know what she is, Michael. I'm not judging. I'm just surprised. It's been a week. Some things don't need time. They just need trust. Robert was quiet for a moment. Caroline would approve. You know that, right? She wanted Maya to be found. She wanted you to have this. Michael's eyes filled. I know. That's why it feels right. At 7:30 p.m., the three of them had dinner together, grilled cheese sandwiches at Emma's request. Can I be in the wedding? Emma asked. Can I throw flowers? You can do whatever you want, sweetheart. Can I wear a princess dress? Absolutely. Can Mommy watch from heaven? Michael's throat closed. Yes, baby. Mommy will definitely be watching. Emma smiled. Good. I want her to see that we're happy. I want her to know we're going to be okay. Maya reached across the table and took Emma's hand. We are going to be okay. All of us. Together. At 9:00 p.m. after Emma was asleep, Michael found Maya in the kitchen doing dishes. You don't have to do that. I know, it helps me think. He leaned against the counter beside her. Are you having second thoughts? No, are you? No. He paused. But I want you to know I meant what I said. If this is too fast, if you need more time. Michael? Maya turned off the water and faced him. My whole life I've been waiting for something. I didn't know what it was. I just knew there was a hole in my heart that nothing could fill. Foster homes couldn't fill it. Jobs couldn't fill it. Even my grandmother's love couldn't completely fill it. And now I know what it was. I was waiting for this. For you, for Emma, for a family. Her voice broke. I don't need more time. I've been waiting my whole life for this moment. Michael pulled her into his arms. I love you, Maya Jenkins. I love you too, Michael Harrison. They held each other in the quiet kitchen with the city glittering outside and their future spreading out before them. At 11:15 p.m., Michael's phone rang. He almost didn't answer it, but something made him reach for it. Mr. Harrison, this is Dr. Rachel Kim from Rikers Island. I'm the prison psychiatrist. I'm calling about your mother. Michael's blood went cold. What about her? She's been asking to see you repeatedly. She says she has something to tell you, something about Caroline. I already know about Caroline. Duh. She says you don't know everything. She says there's something else. Something that will change how you feel about your wife. Michael's hand tightened on the phone. What does that mean? I don't know, but she's becoming increasingly agitated. She says if you don't come see her, she'll tell the press instead. Let her. Mr. Harrison, I'm not sure that's wise. Whatever she knows, it might be better to hear it from her first. Michael looked at Maya. She was watching him with concern. I'll think about it. He hung up. What is it? Maya asked. My mother. She says she knows something about Caroline. Something I don't know. Do you believe her? I don't know what to believe anymore. Maya was quiet for a moment. Maybe you should go. Maybe you need to hear what she has to say. Why would I give her that power? Because otherwise you'll always wonder, and wondering is worse than knowing. Michael stared at his phone. His mother. The monster who had destroyed everything. She still had one more card to play, and he had a feeling he wasn't going to like what it was. The next morning, Michael made his decision. At 6:15 a.m., he told Maya he was going to Rikers Island. Are you sure about this? No, but you were right. I need to know. Whatever she's hiding, I need to hear it from her before she tells the whole world. Do you want me to come with you? Michael shook his head. Stay with Emma. If this goes badly, I don't want her to be alone. Maya touched his face. Whatever she tells you, remember who you are. Remember what we have. Don't let her poison that. I won't. At 8:30 a.m., Michael walked into Rikers Island. The security process took 45 minutes. Metal detectors, pat-downs, forms to sign. By the time he reached the visitation room, his nerves were shot. Victoria was already waiting. She looked different. Smaller. The orange jumpsuit hung on her frame. Her hair was flat, unstyled. Without her designer clothes and perfect makeup, she looked like what she was, a tired old woman facing the end of everything. Michael. Her voice cracked. You came? Say what you have to say. I'm not staying long. Victoria's eyes filled with tears. Real tears or fake ones, Michael couldn't tell anymore. I know you hate me. I know I deserve it. But before I spend the rest of my life in this place, I need you to understand something. Understand what? That you killed your own sister, that you killed my wife. What possible understanding could make that okay? Nothing. Nothing makes it okay. But there's something about Caroline you don't know. Something I should have told you years ago. Michael's jaw tightened. Then tell me. Victoria took a shaky breath. Caroline was sick, Michael, before she died. She had cancer, stage 4. She found out 3 months before the accident. The room tilted. What? Pancreatic cancer. The doctors gave her 6 months, maybe less. Chum, that's impossible. She would have told me. She was going to. The night she died, she was coming home to tell you. She'd been at a treatment facility in upstate New York trying experimental therapies. Trying to buy more time. Michael's legs gave out. He grabbed the table for support. You're lying. This is another one of your manipulations. I'm not lying. I have the medical records. Her oncologist is still alive. You can verify everything. If this is true, why didn't you tell me? Why did you let me believe she was healthy? Victoria's face crumpled. Because I didn't want you to know she was dying. I didn't want Emma to grow up knowing her mother was already leaving her. So instead, you killed her. You ended her life early. No. Victoria's voice broke. I didn't kill her because of the cancer. I killed her because of what she found. About Margaret. About Maya's family. She was going to expose everything. Michael stared at his mother. So Caroline was dying anyway, and you killed her to protect your secrets. I didn't mean for it to happen like that. The driver was only supposed to scare her, to make her back off, but he was drunk. He was out of control. You hired a drunk driver to intimidate my dying wife, and he killed her instead. Victoria sobbed. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Every day I wish I could take it back." Michael stood up slowly. "You know what the worst part is? Caroline was going to anyway. She had months to live. Months we could have spent together. Months to prepare Emma. Months to say goodbye. And you stole that from us." "Michael, please." "No, we're done. I came here for the truth, and I got it. Now I'm going home to my family. My real family." He walked toward the door. "Michael, wait." He stopped, but didn't turn around. "There's something else. Something about Maya." His blood went cold. "What about Maya?" "She's not just Margaret's granddaughter. She's your sister." Michael's heart stopped. "What did you say?" "Not biologically. But when Margaret died, when the baby was taken away, I felt guilty. For years I felt guilty. So I made a promise to myself. I would watch over that child. I would make sure she was taken care of. By stalking her family for 50 years. By funding them, anonymously. The foster families that took Maya and the best ones, I paid them. Her college scholarship, I funded it. Her job at the hotel, I arranged it." Michael's mind reeled. "You've been controlling her entire life. Protecting it. In my own twisted way, I was trying to make up for what I did to Margaret. And placing her in my household. Was that you too?" Victoria's silence was answer enough. "The agency. You own it. You placed Maya in my house on purpose. I wanted her to be close to family. Real family. Even if she never knew it." Michael laughed bitterly. "So all of this, everything that's happened, has been part of your manipulation. Even Maya saving Emma." "No, that was real. I didn't know she would connect with Emma that way. I just wanted her nearby. I wanted to watch over her like I couldn't watch over Margaret." "You're insane. You know that, right? Completely, utterly insane." "Maybe, but Maya is family." "Michael, she's the closest thing you have to a sister, and whatever you think of me, whatever I've done, that connection is real." Michael finally turned to face her. "You're right about one thing. Maya is family, but not because of anything you did. She's family because she showed up when we were drowning. She's family because she loved Emma when everyone else had given up. She's family because she earned it, not because you orchestrated it." He walked out without looking back. At 11:45 a.m., Michael sat in his car outside the prison for 20 minutes. He couldn't move, couldn't think. Caroline was dying. She had cancer. She was going to die anyway. His phone buzzed. Maya. "Michael, are you okay? You've been gone for hours." "I'm coming home. I need to tell you something." "What is it?" "Not on the phone. I'll be there soon." At 12:30 p.m., Michael walked into the penthouse. Maya was waiting for him. Emma was napping. "Michael, you're scaring me. What happened?" He sat down on the couch and told her everything. Caroline's cancer. Victoria's confession about the accident. The 50 years of secret funding. The agency placement. All of it. When he finished, Maya was silent for a long time. "So Victoria has been controlling my life since before I was born." "It appears so." "And Caroline was dying. She was coming home to tell you." "Yes?" Maya stared at her hands. "I don't know what to feel about any of it. Neither do I. Part of me is furious. She's been pulling strings my whole life. Every good thing that happened to me, she was behind it. Does that make it less real?" Maya looked up. "What do you mean?" "The good families. The scholarship. The job. Those things happened. You benefited from them. Does knowing Victoria was behind it change what they meant to you?" Maya thought about this. "I don't know. Maybe, maybe not." "And what about us? Does knowing she placed you here change what we have?" "No." Maya's voice was firm. "Whatever she intended, what happened between us was real. What I feel for you for Emma, that's mine. She doesn't get to claim that." Michael took her hands. "I agree. She may have set the pieces on the board, but we made our own moves. We chose each other. That's not something she can take away." At 2:15 p.m., Emma woke from her nap. She found Michael and Maya sitting together on the couch. "Daddy, you're home." She ran to him and climbed onto his lap. "Did you go see Grandma?" Michael hesitated. "Yes, sweetheart, I did." "What did she say?" "She said she was sorry for the things she did." "Do you believe her?" Michael looked at Maya, then at his daughter. "I think she is sorry, but being sorry doesn't fix what she broke." Emma nodded solemnly. "Mrs. Wells says sorry is just a word. Actions are what matter." "Mrs. Wells is a smart woman." Emma snuggled closer. Daddy, can we have grilled cheese today? It's not Sunday, but I really want grilled cheese. Michael smiled. We can have grilled cheese whenever you want. At 3:47 p.m. they were in the kitchen making sandwiches when Mrs. Wells came in with news. Sir, there's a call for you from a Dr. Jonathan Miller. He says he was Caroline's oncologist. Michael's stomach dropped. I'll take it in the study. He closed the door behind him and picked up the phone. Dr. Miller. Mr. Harrison, thank you for taking my call. I heard about Victoria's arrest, and I felt I needed to reach out. You treated my wife? Yes, for 4 months before her death. She came to me after her initial diagnosis. Stage 4 pancreatic cancer. We tried everything. Experimental treatments, clinical trials. Nothing was working. Michael's throat closed. How long did she have? At the time of her death, I estimated 2 to 3 months. She was deteriorating rapidly. Why didn't she tell me? Dr. Miller was quiet for a moment. She wanted to, many times, but she was afraid of how you would react. She was afraid you would fall apart. She wanted to protect you and Emma as long as possible. That wasn't her choice to make. No, but grief makes us do strange things. She loved you very much, Mr. Harrison. Every conversation we had, she talked about you, about Emma, about how she wished she had more time. Michael wiped his eyes. Did she suffer at the end? The accident, no. From what I understand, it was instant. Whatever else your mother did, she spared Caroline months of painful decline. That doesn't make it right. No, it doesn't, but perhaps it offers some small comfort. At 4:30 p.m., Michael told Maya about the phone call. So Caroline was protecting you, in her own way. Just like Victoria claims she was protecting Margaret's descendants. It's not the same. No, Caroline was protecting me out of love. Victoria was protecting herself out of fear. Maya touched his face. How are you doing, really? I don't know. Part of me is relieved. Knowing Caroline was already dying, knowing she wasn't taken from us at the peak of her health, it makes the loss feel different. Different how? Be less random, less cruel? She was leaving anyway. Victoria just accelerated it. That's still murder. I know, but somehow knowing the truth makes it easier to accept. Does that make sense? Maya nodded slowly. Grief is complicated. There's no right way to feel. At 6:15 p.m., Robert called with more news. Victoria's guilty plea is finalized. Life without parole. She'll be transferred to a federal facility next week. Did she say anything else? Any more surprises? Just one thing. She asked me to tell you she's donating her entire estate to charity, children's hospitals, foster care programs, mental health initiatives. Why? She said she wants to do some good with what's left of her life. She said Margaret would have wanted that. Michael was silent. Michael, are you there? I'm here. I'm just processing. There's something else. She's requesting that you not contact her again. She says she's caused enough damage. She wants you to move on. Be happy. Forget about her. That's rich. She destroys everything and then asks to be forgotten. Maybe it's the only gift she has left to give. Disappearing. At 8:00 p.m. after dinner, Emma asked for a family meeting. A family meeting? Yes, Mrs. Wells says important families have meetings, and we're important. Michael looked at Maya. She's right. We are important. They sat in the living room. Emma stood in front of them like she was presenting to a board of directors. I've been thinking, she said seriously, about Mommy and Grandma and everything that happened. What have you been thinking, sweetheart? Mommy's in heaven, Grandma's in prison, and we're here. She paused. But we're not sad anymore. We're happy, and I think that's what Mommy would want. Michael's eyes filled. I think you're right. And Miss Maya is going to be part of our family now. She's going to marry Daddy, so she'll be my new mommy, not my replacement mommy because you can't replace mommies, but my bonus mommy. Maya laughed through her tears. Bonus mommy, I like that. And Mrs. Wells is like a grandma, a nice grandma, not a scary grandma like Victoria. I'm sure Mrs. Wells will be honored. Emma took a deep breath. So I've decided something. What's that? I'm going to stop being scared. I'm going to eat all my food. I'm going to play with my toys again. I'm going to be happy. Her voice wavered. Because Mommy is watching from heaven and I want her to see that I'm okay. I want her to move on to the good part of heaven. The part where she doesn't have to worry anymore. Michael couldn't speak. He pulled Emma into his arms and held her tight. You're the bravest person I know, he whispered. You know that I learned it from Miss Maya. She said being brave means being scared, but doing things anyway. At 9:30 p.m. after Emma was in bed, Maya and Michael stood on the balcony. The city sparkled below them. "She's incredible," Maya said. "That little girl has been through more than most adults and she's still fighting." "She has you to thank for that." "She has herself to thank. I just showed her the door. She's the one who walked through it." Michael pulled her close. "Maya, I've been thinking about the wedding. Already having second thoughts." "Never, but I want to do it soon. I don't want to wait." "How soon?" "This weekend. Just us. Emma, Mrs. Wells, Robert as my witness. Someone to officiate. Nothing fancy." Maya turned to face him. "This weekend, Michael, that's 4 days from now." "I know. Is that too fast?" "No, it's perfect." She kissed him. "I've been waiting my whole life for a family. I don't want to wait anymore either." At 10:15 a.m. on Saturday, 4 days later, they gathered in the penthouse. Michael in a simple gray suit, Maya in a white dress she'd bought the day before, Emma in a princess gown she'd picked out herself. Mrs. Wells cried through the entire ceremony. Judge Patricia Coleman, who had dismissed Victoria's custody petition, agreed to officiate. She said it was the least she could do after everything the family had been through. At 10:47 a.m., Michael said his vows. "Maya, a week ago, I was drowning. My daughter was dying. My family was falling apart, and then you walked through our door. You didn't try to fix us. You didn't judge us. You just saw us. Really saw us. And that was enough." His voice broke. "I don't know what I did to deserve you. I don't know why God sent you to us when we needed you most. But I know this, I will spend the rest of my life being grateful. I will spend the rest of my life loving you. I will spend the rest of my life being the man you deserve." Maya wiped her eyes. "Michael, I grew up believing I was alone in this world. No family, no history, no one who would miss me if I disappeared. But I was wrong. I had a grandmother who loved me. I had a legacy I didn't know about. And I had you and Emma waiting for me even before we met." She took his hands. "You gave me something I never thought I'd have. A home, a family, a purpose. And in return, I promise to give you everything I have. My love, my loyalty, my strength, for as long as I live." Judge Coleman smiled. "By the power vested in me by the state of New York, I pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride." Emma cheered as they kissed. "We're a real family now. A real official family." At 11:30 a.m., they had lunch together, grilled cheese sandwiches at Emma's insistence. "This is our wedding food," she declared. "Every year on our anniversary, we have to have grilled cheese." "Deal," Michael said. "And on Sundays, always on Sundays." "Always." Emma looked at Maya. "Can I call you Mommy now, or is that weird?" Maya's eyes filled. "You can call me whatever feels right to you." Emma thought about it. "I'll call you Mama. That's different from Mommy. Mommy is in heaven. Mama is here." "Mama it is." At 2:15 p.m., Robert arrived with documents. "Sorry to interrupt the celebration, but there's something you need to see." He handed Michael a folder. "Victoria's estate lawyers sent this over. As part of her donation to charity, she's established a trust fund for Emma, $20 million, and another trust for Maya, $10 million. Michael stared at the numbers. "She's giving us money. She's trying to make amends, in the only way she knows how." Maya shook her head. "I don't want her money." "You don't have to take it personally, but the trust is set up so that if you don't use it, it goes to foster care programs. Maybe think of it as Margaret's inheritance, the resources she would have had if Victoria hadn't destroyed her life." Maya was quiet for a long moment. "I'll think about it." At 4:00 p.m., Emma asked to visit her mother's grave. "Today, on your wedding day. I want to tell Mommy about our family. I want her to know we're okay." Michael looked at Maya. "What do you think?" "I think it's a beautiful idea." They drove to the cemetery together. Emma held flowers she'd picked from the penthouse garden. At Caroline's grave, Emma knelt down and placed the flowers carefully. "Hi, Mommy, it's me, Emma." Michael and Maya stood back, giving her space. "A lot has happened since you went to heaven. Daddy was sad for a long time. I was sad too. I stopped eating. I wanted to come find you." Her voice wavered. "But then Mama came. Not a new mommy to replace you, a bonus mommy, like you sent her to take care of us." Emma wiped her nose. "Daddy married her today. He loves her, but he still loves you too. He said hearts are big enough for lots of people." She was quiet for a moment. "I'm eating again. I eat grilled cheese like you used to make. It doesn't taste exactly the same, but Mama says that's okay. She says new things don't have to be the same to be good. Michael's shoulders shook with silent sobs. I'm going to be okay, Mommy. We're all going to be okay. You can stop worrying now. You can go to the good part of heaven, the part where everything is happy. Emma stood up and turned to face Michael and Maya. Okay, I'm ready to go home now. At 6:30 p.m., they had a quiet dinner together, just the three of them. Mrs. Wells had left for the evening, giving them privacy. So, Emma said, between bites of pasta, what happens now? What do you mean, sweetheart? Are we going to live happily ever after like in the stories? Michael and Maya exchanged looks. I hope so, Maya said, but happily ever after isn't really how it works. It's not. No, life has ups and downs, good days and bad days, happy moments and sad moments, but what matters is that we face them together. Emma nodded seriously. So we'll have mostly happy with some sad mixed in. Exactly. That sounds okay, as long as we're together. Always, Michael said. No matter what happens, we're a family now, and families stick together. At 8:15 p.m., they put Emma to bed together. For the first time, both Michael and Maya tucked her in. Daddy reads and Mama sings, Emma announced. That's the new rule. What does Mama sing? Something pretty, something from your heart. Maya thought for a moment. Then she began to sing softly. An old lullaby her grandmother used to sing, one she hadn't thought about in years. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird. And if that mockingbird don't sing, Mama's gonna buy you a diamond ring. Emma's eyes grew heavy. I like that song, Mama. My grandma used to sing it to me. The one who saved you. Yes, the one who saved me. Emma smiled sleepily. Now you're saving me. And I'll save someone else someday. That's how it works. Maya's eyes filled. That's exactly how it works, baby. At 9:00 p.m., Michael and Maya stood in the hallway outside Emma's door. She's going to be okay, Maya whispered. Really okay. Because of you. Because of us. Because of Caroline. Because of everyone who loved her enough to fight for her. Michael pulled her close. What do you want to do now? It's our wedding night. Maya smiled. I want to sit on the balcony. I want to look at the stars. I want to just be with you. With this life we're building. That sounds perfect. At 10:30 p.m., they sat together on the balcony. The city hummed below them. The stars twinkled above. Can I tell you something? Maya said. Anything. A week ago, I was nobody, a housekeeper from Brooklyn with no family, no future, no hope, and now I have everything, a husband, a daughter, a home, a purpose. Her voice broke. I never thought I'd have any of this. I'd given up on the idea of family, and then God put Emma in my path. Or Victoria did. Maya shook her head. Victoria may have set the pieces in motion, but she didn't control the outcome. That was God. That was fate. That was two broken people finding each other and choosing to heal together. Michael kissed her forehead. I love you, Mrs. Harrison. Maya laughed. I love you too, Mr. Harrison. At 11:47 p.m., Michael's phone buzzed one last time. A text from Robert. Thought you should know. The story is breaking. Every major outlet is running pieces on Victoria. CNN, Fox, The Times. It's going to be intense for a while. Michael showed Maya. The circus begins. Are you ready? No, but we'll face it together. Yes, we will. At 12:15 a.m., they finally went to bed. Their first night as husband and wife. Michael. Yes? Thank you. For what? For letting me in, for trusting me with Emma, for believing I could help when everyone else had given up. Thank you for not giving up on us, for seeing what we could be instead of what we were. Maya curled against him. This is real, right? This isn't a dream. It's real, more real than anything I've ever known. Outside the city that never sleeps continued its endless dance. But inside the penthouse, 3 people slept peacefully for the first time in months. A father who had found his way back. A daughter who had chosen to live. And a woman who had finally found her home. 3 months later, on a warm spring Sunday, the Harrison family gathered in their kitchen. Emma stood on her step stool, carefully spreading butter on bread. Maya guided her hand. Michael manned the stove. Triangles, not squares, Emma reminded him. I know, triangles. Mrs. Wells watched from the doorway, smiling. This is my favorite part of the week, she said. Watching you 3 together. Emma grinned. It's tradition. Sunday grilled cheese. Forever and ever. Forever and ever, Michael agreed. Maya looked around at her family, at the little girl who had taught her how to love again, at the man who had given her a home, at the future stretching out before them, bright and full of possibility. Forever and ever, she whispered. They ate their sandwiches at the kitchen table. Not the formal dining room, the kitchen table, where real families eat. Emma chattered about school, about her friends, about the picture she was drawing for Mommy's grave. I'm making it with all of us. You, me, Daddy, Mama, and Mommy in heaven, so she knows we're all together. Michael's eyes glistened. She'll love it, sweetheart. After lunch, they walked to the park. Emma ran ahead to the swings. Michael and Maya followed hand in hand. She's so different, Maya said, from that little girl I met 4 months ago. She's not the only one. Maya looked at him. You're different too, Michael. Lighter, more present. I have something worth being present for now. They watched Emma swing higher and higher, her laughter echoing across the playground. I want more of this, Michael said suddenly. More what? More family, more love, more life. He turned to face her. I want to have children with you, Maya, brothers and sisters for Emma, a house full of noise and chaos and love. Maya's breath caught. You want more children? Only if you do, only if you're ready. Maya thought about her childhood, the foster homes, the loneliness, the desperate wish for siblings, for family. I want that too, more than anything. Michael pulled her close. Then that's what we'll do. We'll fill that penthouse with children. We'll give Emma the family she deserves. The family we both deserved. Emma came running back. What are you talking about? You look all mushy. Michael laughed. We're talking about the future sweetheart. What about it? How do you feel about having a brother or sister someday? Emma's eyes went wide. Really, a real brother or sister? If you want one? Emma threw her arms around both of them. I want 100, no 1,000. I want so many brothers and sisters that we need a bigger house. Maya laughed. Let's start with one and see how it goes. Okay, but soon. I don't want to wait. We won't wait too long, I promise. That night, after Emma was in bed, Michael and Maya stood on the balcony one last time. Can you believe it? Maya said. A week ago I was a stranger. Now I'm a wife, a mother, part of something bigger than myself. You were never just a stranger. You were always meant to be here, with us. Maya touched her stomach. Michael, there's something I need to tell you. His heart raced. What is it? I wasn't sure before, but I took a test this morning. Her eyes shone in the moonlight. I'm pregnant. Michael's world exploded with joy. You're pregnant. We're having a baby. We're having a baby. He lifted her off her feet and spun her around. I love you. I love you so much. I love you too. We have to tell Emma. Tomorrow. Tonight is just for us. They held each other under the stars. A year ago, Michael Harrison was a man who had lost everything. His wife, his connection to his daughter, his will to live. Now he had a family, a wife who understood him, a daughter who had chosen life, and a baby on the way. The billionaire's daughter hadn't eaten in 2 weeks. But that wasn't the story. The story was what happened after, when a woman from Brooklyn walked into a broken home and reminded everyone inside that they were worth saving. When a father learned that being present was more important than being perfect. When a little girl discovered that she could miss her mother and still choose to live. When love found a way through the darkness. The story wasn't about death or grief or the terrible things people do to each other. The story was about hope, about family, about second chances, about the simple truth that no matter how broken we are, we can always be put back. Maya Jenkins. Harrison never forgot where she came from. Every year on the anniversary of her mother's death, she visited the grave of Margaret Reynolds, the grandmother she never met, the woman whose death had set everything in motion, and every year she brought Emma with her. This is your great-great-grandmother, she would say. She was brave, she was loving, and she's the reason we found each other. Emma would place flowers on the grave and say a prayer. Thank you for sending Mama to us. Thank you for not letting us disappear. The Harrison family grew. First a son Daniel named after Maya's grandfather. Then twin girls Caroline and Margaret named after the women who had loved them across the divide of death. The penthouse became too small. They bought a house in Westchester. Big yard, room for dogs and gardens and all the noise and chaos of a family truly alive. Michael stepped back from the company, handed the reins to someone who cared about stock prices more than he did. He became what he'd always wanted to be, but never knew how. A father, a husband, a man worthy of the family he'd been given. And Maya became what she'd always been destined to be. A mother, a healer, a woman who turned the pain of her past into the foundation of her future. She started a foundation for foster children, funded it with Victoria's money, made sure that no child ever felt as alone as she had. Victoria Harrison died in prison 8 years later. Michael didn't attend the funeral, but he did visit her grave once, to say goodbye, to release the anger that had poisoned him for so long. "I forgive you," he whispered. "Not for you, for me, for my family, I'm letting you go." And then he walked away. Forever. On a Sunday morning, 15 years after Maya first walked into the Harrison penthouse, the family gathered in their kitchen. Emma, now 19, was home from college. She stood at the stove teaching her younger siblings how to make grilled cheese. Triangles, not squares. That's the rule. "Who made that rule?" Daniel asked. "My first mom, and then my second mom, and now me." Maya and Michael watched from the doorway. "Look at them," Maya whispered. "Look at what we built." "Look at what you built," Michael corrected. "You saved us. All of us. We saved each other." Emma looked up and saw them watching. "Come on, you two. Family breakfast. Everyone helps." They joined the chaos, the laughter, the love, and as the smell of grilled cheese filled the kitchen, Maya thought about that first morning. The train from Brooklyn, the cold February sunrise, the little girl who had given up on living. She thought about everything that had led her to this moment. Every loss, every struggle, every tear. All of it necessary, all of it purposeful, all of it leading here. To this kitchen, to this family, to this life. The billionaire's daughter hadn't eaten in 2 weeks. Until a woman who understood grief walked through the door. Until a father remembered how to be present. Until a family learned that love is stronger than death. And they lived. Not happily ever after because life doesn't work that way, but fully, deeply, together. They lived.